Everyone else saw this situation as well. There was just a ruined low-grade spirit range and low-level spirit herbs. The highest level spirit herb was only level 6. There were some rare ones, but none of them interested these truth realization state cultivators. Everyone else saw this situation as well. There was just a ruined low-grade spirit range and low-level spirit herbs. The highest level spirit herb was only level 6. There were some rare ones, but none of them interested these truth realization state cultivators. There seemed to be a herb garden next to it, but it was empty. Judging by the ruins, some people moved it away not long ago. Only Jiefeng's 2 daughters happily went to dig up low-level spirit herbs. The rest of the cultivators didn't do anything. There was no way they were going to fight over low-level spirit herbs with hollow spirit state cultivators. Things were taken away. I'm going to look somewhere else. Teng Xiong saluted with his fists and left this place. Huang Qi and Gong Zhe glanced at each other and saluted with their fists. Island Lord Jie, we'll be going other places too. Then, the two left here rapidly and only the middle-aged man and his 2 daughters were left. Jiefeng frowned and suddenly said, "Yu Kuei, tell me again what you and Yu Ning saw." The green-robed girl nodded. "When we came in, there was that young man fighting with a female cultivator. He seemed to have the lower hand and we couldn't see his power. When the female cultivator saw us come in, she was about to attack us, but at that moment the guy counterattacked. The female cultivator had to give up attacking us and fight the male. We ran out at that time." Jiefeng nodded. Cultivators couldn't be judged on looks. He believed Yi Mo was a powerful cultivator who has been cultivating for many years. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to dissipate the grey mist and come here. The younger sister also said, "I saw his magic artifact was a purple kitchen knife. It seemed to be very strong. It seems that the one who fled when we came here was one of them. Dad, do you think it was the guy or the female who got away?" "Should we chase up?" the green-robed girl asked. The middle-aged man thought for a moment and said, "From now on, you two won't be allowed to leave the island alone again. If it wasn't for luck, you two would have been dead." The red-robed girl wasn't willing but still agreed. Jiefeng immediately said, "Regardless of who got away, the high-level spirit herbs are with them. If we chase up now, and there's immortal curl flower, that's the only spirit herb useful to your sister. We need to go now. That person's flying magic artifact is an extreme-grade cultivation artifact. If we waste more time we won't be able to catch up." Teng Xiong's face was green now. There was just a simple spirit sense barrier formation before him with a spirit sense mark was trapped inside. This was the spirit sense mark he left on Yi Mo. "I underestimated you. You can even remove truth realization state cultivator spirit sense marks. It seems you have more secrets than I thought," Teng Xiong said, and then took out a top-grade flying magic artifact before looking at the direction Lan Chirue disappeared to. In a blink, he disappeared from Lost Soul Ruins in a white beam. He realized why the Lost Soul Ruins was safe now and yet Lan Chirue didn't come in. He knew that Yi Mo had left. Although Teng Xiong didn't know why Yi Mo took his spirit sense mark but couldn't take off Lan Chirue's spirit sense mark, he wasn't going to let Yi Mo fall into Lan Chirue's hands. A level 7 Pill King was crucial to the Dragon Teng Palace. He might become an overlord of an even greater region due to Yi Mo. His palace was a little stronger than Chi Tian Island, but if Yi Mo is taken away by them, it was no good for him. Jiefeng took his daughters out of the formation door and saw Teng Xiong leave. He immediately frowned. The red-robed girl said, "Dad, I saw that person leave towards the north. Why did Dragon Teng King chase east?" Jiefeng shook his head. "I don't know, but that Lan Chirue left towards the east as well. It should be something between them. We don't need to worry, let's go north." Then, Jiefeng took out an extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact and left with his daughters. He was thinking about who the person inside the Lost Soul Ruins was. He seemed very important to Teng Xiong and Lan Chirue. Why did they leave in the opposite directions? Huang Qi saw Jiefeng and Teng Xiong leave. Gong Zhe also frowned but replied, "Ignore Jiefeng, he probably has his own business. We just need to follow Dragon Teng King." He left in the direction Lan Chirue went. I think Teng Xiong lost Yi Mo while Lan Chirue was going in the right direction. That's right. Jiefeng doesn't know about Yi Mo, so he's not going to chase him for sure, Huang Qi immediately said. The two reached an agreement and immediately chased after Teng Xiong. Soon, the Lost Soul Ruins was desolate again. Yimo put 8 extreme-grade spirit stones in Blue Moon and fled like crazy. Half a day later, he saw no one came, so he changed directions. 5 days later, Yimo breathed easy. He estimated that no one would be chasing up to him now, but before he could relax, he had the feeling of being watched again. Before he could think, a yellow beam faster than Blue Moon chased up and surpassed Blue Moon. Yimo's heart sunk. Looking at this, it was clear the yellow beam came for him. He slowed down and stood in front of Blue Moon. If he couldn't beat this person, he would run into the Heartless Sea and hide in the Golden Page world. The yellow light stopped and 3 cultivators got off. When Yimo saw the 2 girls, he immediately knew what was going on. It was those 2 girls who suddenly came in that allowed him to see the wave of the female cultivator's spirit sense cultivation method. From that he learned spirit sense transformation and reached Purple Eye Soul Sever level 4. But it was due to him that they survived. Now, it seems that the 2 girls brought help and the middle-aged man in front of them was Truth Realization State peak stage already. He couldn't even beat an injured Truth Realization State level 6, much less a Truth Realization State peak stage. Yimo knew he had no chance at all. When Jiefeng saw Yimo, there was a sliver of shock in his eyes. He could tell Yimo was young, too young, yet his power was cauldron filling state level 2. But soon he hid his shock and saluted with his fists. I'm Yinzhu Island Lord Jiefeng. I was a rush to see you, but I need to thank you for saving my daughters first. No wonder the 2 dared to roam around, clearly their dad was very famous around here. Yimo had a good impression seeing that this Truth Realization State peak stage was so polite to him, so he saluted with his fists. WN Bei Yimo, Island Lord Jie, you're too polite. It was just an accident, I didn't intentionally save your daughters. Yimo felt uneasy. The 2 girls saw him fighting with the female cultivator. If they went to Lost Soul Ruins as well, they would know that the spirit herbs in there were in his pockets. Yimo knew what level 9 spirit herbs meant to truth realization states. There was no way of resisting if he wanted to rob him and kill him. Yimo instantly thought of 2 ways. One was to dodge the first attack and grab one of his daughters as hostage, the second was to dash into Heartless Sea and enter the Golden Page world, testing his luck. Yimo immediately gave up the first idea. It was obviously impossible to grab his daughter in front of him. He could only try the second method. Even if he had to give up Blue Moon, he would dash into Heartless Sea instantly. Yimo immediately went on full alert watching Jiefeng. Jiefeng waved his hand and an awe-emitting aqua light appeared on his hand. This was Blue Extreme Rock, a level 9 material. Jiefeng waved his hand and an awe-emitting aqua light appeared on his hand. This was Blue Extreme Rock, a level 9 material. This was equivalent to the Huang Star Rock he got. It was very rare, but Yimo didn't know why Jiefeng took this out. Jiefeng smiled. Yimo brother, I'm a bit older than you, so I'll call you little brother. Have you seen this rock before? Yimo nodded. If WN Bei isn't wrong, it's level 9 material Blue Extreme Rock. Very rare. Jiefeng nodded with approval. Keen eyes. Brother, this is indeed Blue Extreme Rock, but now it's yours. Then he threw the rock to Yimo, but his flying ship didn't come near Yimo, as though he knew Yimo was on alert. This was a minor detail, but Yimo noticed it and felt grateful. This was the mannerism of a true respectable Qianbei. Yimo took it and a deep bone-chilling frost came. Yimo immediately knew this was no ordinary Blue Extreme Rock. This was a top-quality one. He took it and said in confusion, WN Bei can't take this for nothing. Jiefeng stopped Yimo from giving it back. You saved my daughter before, so this is a token of appreciation. Yimo wasn't going to take it before he knew why, no matter how much he liked it. He wouldn't believe that Jiefeng would chase up just to thank him. Then, Jiefeng said again, I heard people say there's immortal curl flower in Lost Soul Ruins, but although people say it's a level 9 spirit herb, it's actually beyond level 9. My eldest daughter's spirit roots are damaged and she can't cultivate, her body is also heavily damaged. Yimo immediately knew what Jiefeng meant. Even a truth realization state peak stage wasn't able to help a damaged body and spirit root damage to that degree. Clearly immortal curl flower was the best choice. Jiefeng clearly wanted an immortal curl flower. Yimo had 4 and now that the woman took one, he still had 3. Yimo gave one to Jiefeng without hesitation. Jiefeng didn't expect to get an immortal curl flower this easily. His hands were shaking with excitement. He cusped the immortal curl flower, not knowing how to show his excitement. Even the 2 girls behind were very excited. Half a moment later, the green-robed girl pushed him and he came back to his senses. He bowed to Yimo. "Thank you, brother Yimo, I'm very grateful." Yimo quickly waved his hand. "Jie Qianbei, you're too polite. It's my honor that one spirit herb can save your daughter." Jiefeng took out a jade box and carefully put the immortal curl flower in before putting it away. Then he said to Yimo, "Brother Yi, you saving my daughter and your talent deserves a bow from me. You're the most genius cultivator I've ever seen. I believe your future is boundless. If you see my 2 daughters in the future, please help them a little." Yimo quickly said again, "Thank you for your words, Qianbei. If Qianbei doesn't have anything else, Wenbei will be leaving too." Yimo knew Jiefeng was easy to talk to, but not the guys from Dragon Teng Palace. "That's fine. 3 days ago I saw Dragon Teng King and Lan Chirue go east. I don't know what they're doing." Jiefeng nodded and said strangely. Jiefeng didn't know the exact story between them, but from how Yimo left Lost Soul Ruins and Teng Xiong and them went in, as well as mentioning the person who went in, he reminded Yimo just in case. Jiefeng didn't know his little reminder made Yimo very grateful. At the same time, he had a different view on truth realization state cultivators. There was such distance between them and yet Jiefeng could chase up. Who knows if Teng Xiong and them could chase up too? Jiefeng nodded to Yimo. "In that case I won't waste your travel time. Do as you please, brother Yi." Yimo nodded and suddenly took out 2 jade bottles. "Island Lord Jie, Yimo admires your honest character. It's my honor to meet a friend like you. I do need to go immediately. I don't have anything good, but I can give these 2 bottles of pills for the 2 girls." Jiefeng nodded and didn't mind. Seeing this, Yimo saluted with his fists and took off in a blue beam. He couldn't stay indeed, as he would bring trouble to Jiefeng. Jiefeng was powerful, but he was just by himself. Seeing this, the green-robed girl looked at Jiefeng in confusion. "Dad, you seemed very polite to that cultivator and gave him blue extreme rock to trade the immortal curl flower." The red-robed girl immediately said, "Sister, didn't you hear Dad say he's the most prodigious cultivator? Of course Dad would take him seriously, but I'm happiest about big sister soon being able to get well." Jiefeng nodded. "It's indeed due to Yimo that we got the immortal curl flower this time, and I'm serious about him being the most prodigious cultivator I've ever seen. He's not even 100 and his cauldron filling state level 2. Have you seen a human cultivator reach cauldron filling state in 100 years? He's the first I've seen." The 2 girls were dazed, not expecting this. "Dad, did you see wrong? If he could kill that at least disaster transformation state female cultivator, how can he be only cauldron filling state and not even 100 years old?" the green-robed girl asked in disbelief. Jiefeng nodded with certainty. "I'm certain he's not 100 years and perhaps even younger than I imagined." The red-robed girl said, "Yimo is lucky that he met Dad. If he met that old monster Dragon Teng King, his bones would be devoured." Jiefeng thought for a moment and said, "Yu Ning, you're right, but you can't underestimate him. Although we caught up to him, but if we fought we might not be able to keep him." Hearing this, the 2 sisters' mouths were wide open in shock and they looked at their father in disbelief. How could a mere cauldron filling state level 2 not be kept by their truth realization state peak stage father? Jiefeng was also confused. He was wary of me but not scared. Clearly he had a way to get away. Otherwise, a cauldron filling state wouldn't be that calm seeing a truth realization state cultivator. Didn't you guys suspect that female cultivator's power? I can tell you for sure based on your description that her cultivation essence giant hand was truth realization state level. Yimo could escape from her and get spirit herbs. Clearly he killed that female cultivator already. Of course, he isn't able to injure me, but I'm not sure I can keep him. By the way, Dad, when the left he gave some pills to us. Let's see what they are, the red-robed girl said. Yimo smiled. Yimo was just cauldron filling state and was too young. He wouldn't have many good things. Clearly, They were hollow spirit state level pills he gave to his daughters. He casually tipped them out, and when the 2 spirit Kai emitting pills appeared on his hand, they were all dumbfounded. There were 2 break spirit pills in Jiefeng's hands. They were heaven grade level 5 pills. They were the pills hollow spirit state cultivators needed to break through to body condensation state and were special grade. At least a level 5 pill king was needed to concoct break spirit pill. Special grade ones might even need level 6 pill kings to concoct them. There were 2 break spirit pills in Jiefeng's hands. They were heaven grade level 5 pills. They were the pills hollow spirit state cultivators needed to break through to body condensation state and were special grade. At least a level 5 pill king was needed to concoct break spirit pill. Special grade ones might even need level 6 pill kings to concoct them. It was because of this that they were shocked. Jiefeng had break spirit pills but not special grade ones. He got his top grade break spirit pills using many spirit herbs and a huge favor. He got them for his daughters, but now Yimo gave him 2 special grade ones. This is break spirit pill, and special grade ones, the green-robed girl said in shock. This Yimo is so generous. Dad, let's see the other 2 pills, Yuning, the red-robed girl said. Jiefeng put the 2 pills away and was shook. Even he was eager to see what the other pills were. He opened the jade bottle and Yokue and Yuning almost shrieked, Kuan filling pills. Even Jiefeng took a cold breath in. He had 2 top-grade Kuan filling pills. These were heaven-grade level 7 pills. Top-grade ones were even harder to get. Even if you had Kuan carrot, you couldn't concoct the Kuan filling pill. Level 7 pill kings were too rare. Even if you met one, he might not be willing to help you. Even 9-star sects had a limited supply of Kuan filling pills, and now he had 2 top-grade ones. How could he not be excited? He thought Yimo would be shocked by his generosity with the blue extreme rock. It was rare, but he wasn't going to lower himself to take immortal curl flower from Yimo for free. After he got the immortal curl flower, he no longer thought that way, as immortal curl flower was much more precious than blue extreme rock. Now that he looked at the 4 pills, he knew who was truly generous. He felt guilty of what he thought before. When he gave the blue extreme rock, he might have had a little condescending manner or even a bragging intention. But Yimo didn't show off at all, as he believed his daughters truly needed these pills. Jiefeng was embarrassed by Yimo's generosity and magnanimity. At this moment, Yukue and Yuning still hadn't woke up from their shock. Even though their father was truth realization state peak stage, it was hard for him to get 2 top-grade Kuan filling pills. With their talent, they would have 90% chance of reaching cauldron filling state with these 2 pills. Dad, this Yimo is too generous. He even gave top-grade Kuan filling pills. Who is he? He has such high-level pills, Yukue said in shock. Yuning nodded and suddenly asked in confusion, Dad, why is your face a little red? Jiefeng smiled awkwardly. I thought I was being generous, but compared to brother Yimo I'm too stingy. He put away the pills and sighed. He's truly a genius. I've never seen a genius like him. This is unbelievable, really. Dad, just how long are you going to praise that Yimo for? Perhaps he got a large pile of Kuan filling pills in the Lost Soul ruins, Yuning murmured. Jiefeng said with a straight face, I'm saying this because he's not only a formation Grand Master but also a level 7 pill king. What? How is that possible? The 2 sisters asked simultaneously. Jiefeng waved the pills in his hand. These pills were made less than 1 month ago. Clearly, he didn't get this from some ruin. He made it himself. Plus, I said the formations in the Lost Soul ruins were tampered with. Yimo was the first to go in, so clearly he did it. Obviously, he's a formation Grand Master and I'm sure he has other means. The 2 nodded. If it was really as Dad said, then Yimo was a prodigy amongst prodigies. People like him have a boundless future. Luckily we connected with him before and he has a good impression of us, or he wouldn't give such pills. If you guys reach higher cultivation states and see him, it would only benefit you, Jiefeng said. Then he sighed. If it wasn't that he wasn't interested in you too, I also want to chase him up to make him my son-in-law. Hearing this, the big sister Yukue looked down in embarrassment, but the younger sister Yuning said, Sister and I can be considered beautiful in this region. Dad, why are your words so crushing? How do you know he isn't into us? Maybe he was, but he's too shy to say it. So that means you're into him? Jie Feng asked. Yuning immediately said, I'm just saying. Jie Feng patted Yuning's head. You three sisters are all very beautiful girls and my pride, but as a father I won't lie to you. He looks at you and your sister very calmly. Clearly he's not interested in you too. I won't be wrong about this. If he can stay at Zhuyin Island for a while, you two might have a chance. Dad, then call him to Yinzhu Island. Yuning didn't think much and said. Jie Feng knew this didn't mean his daughter was into Yi Mo, but he didn't mind and shook his head. I understand why Yi Mo was running off in a rush. Why? Yuning asked. His hiding from Teng Xiong and them. Jie Feng sneered. Lan Chirue said he didn't want to go into the Lost Soul ruins. I was suspicious. He's not someone scared of death. If there was no danger in Lost Soul ruins, then what could be more important than getting level 9 spirit herbs? Now that Yi Mo appeared, I understand why. He's a level 7 pill king. He must know Yi Mo is a level 7 pill king and that's why he left to catch Yi Mo. That person they said went in the Lost Soul ruins must be Yi Mo. But this Yi Mo isn't simple either. He drew them to the wrong direction. No wonder he's so young and dares to go into the Lost Soul ruins. He's indeed brilliant. Then why didn't Dragon Teng King go at first? Yuning asked. Jie Feng shook his head. I don't know that very well, but later Dragon Teng King went east, the same direction as Lan Chirue. Now it's obvious he went for Yi Mo too. Jie Feng suddenly said, we should help Yi Mo. They might come towards our direction if they don't find Yi Mo in the east. It's not a big possibility for them to catch Yi Mo, but we should still help him. How do we help? Yuning asked again. Leave some traces and draw them to the southeast side, Jie Feng said. Yi Mo didn't expect his generosity earned Jie Feng's good impression and such outcomes. Lan Chirue was very annoyed. He chased for half a day and it ended up to be a cultivator's soul. Even if he didn't chase it, it would disappear soon. He gave up level 9 spirit herbs to chase this soul. He really didn't understand how Yi Mo took off his spirit sense mark and put it on a soul and led it this far. Could Yi Mo control souls too? He thought that he needed to go back and quickly meet up with Teng Xiong. If Yi Mo was in the Lost Soul ruins, he would be losing out big. But before he left, Teng Xiong already appeared before him. 15 days later, when Jie Feng took his two Dafas back to Yinzhu Island, he met Teng Xiong and Lan Chirue who hurried over. 15 days later, when Jie Feng took his two Dafas back to Yinzhu Island, he met Teng Xiong and Lan Chirue who hurried over. The two saw it was just Jie Feng and his two daughters together and were stunned. They traced along the marks for half a month and didn't see Yi Mo at all. Island Lord Jie, what a coincidence. Lan Chirue laughed awkwardly. Teng Xiong said, yeah, what a coincidence. Island leader Jie is very free now and he wanders around aimlessly. Haha, everyone knows. Jie Feng immediately knew what Teng Xiong meant. He was saying that he left many marks on his way and led the two here, but he pretended he didn't understand what the two were saying. He frowned. What do you mean, Teng Dragon King? Is this entire Heartless Sea your Dragon Teng Palace? Can I not take my daughter around for a walk? Lan Chirue didn't want the two to argue, so he quickly said, of course, please continue, we'll be going. Then, he pulled away Teng Xiong. He knew Jie Feng's power, although Teng Xiong was Truth Realization State Peak Stage and he was Truth Realization State Level 9, they might really not be a match for Jie Feng even if they attacked together. Teng Xiong knew there was nothing he could do to Jie Feng, so he could only turn away. Seeing the two leave, Jie Feng sneered. Let's go, we can go back to the island, you can stay on the island and cultivate, don't run around everywhere. Yes, Yu Kuei and Yuning said dejectedly. After they left for a long while, Teng Xiong sneered. Brother Lan, don't you feel strange? Since when did Jie Feng have the free time to roam around with his daughters for half a month? Lan Chirue said calmly, so what if you knew he helped Yi Mo get away? Yi Mo isn't here, we can't fight with him for no reason. But we'll go visit that Yinzhu Island one day. Teng Xiong nodded, showing he knew what Lan Chirue meant. They would go look for trouble with Jie Feng in the future, but now it was urgent to capture Yi Mo first. Lan Chirue paused and said, that Yi Mo would go find your son Teng Yi. Do you not even know where your son is? Is he not going to go back to your palace? Ting Xiong said in annoyance, It's because he won't be coming back that I'm annoyed. That bastard told his mother he would be going out for an adventure. Who knows where they will be going? Lan Chirue nodded. I think they might go to the Three Seas. Why don't we go there? Ting Xiong nodded and the two changed direction. Little did they know they guessed the right direction as Yi Mo was going towards the Three Seas. Half a month later, Yi Mo had calmed down and took out Ji Ling's essence spirit and woke him up. Ji Ling saw the immortal curl flower and said in shock, You really got the immortal curl flower. Ji Ling immediately said in gratitude, Yi Mo, thank you. Yi Mo laughed. I was lucky that I got out whole this time. Ji Qianbei, your essence spirit has been exposed for too long. You need to recover your body or the danger is too high. Ji Ling answered, Just give me immortal curl flower and the yellow rock and set up a spirit gathering formation for me. I need 2 months to rebuild my body. Yi Mo asked in shock. Ji Qianbei, is your body hidden in that rock? Ji Ling nodded. Yes, after that battle, everyone retreated and no one touched my body, so I sealed myself in my own formation. I didn't tell you as I didn't want you to be worried. Yi Mo knew what Ji Ling meant. If Yi Mo knew Ji Ling's body was still there, he would find spirit herb to preserve the body. That wouldn't be easier than finishing the immortal curl flower. But now that Ji Ling had the immortal curl flower, after he rebuilt his body his power wouldn't drop at all and his talent would increase quite a bit. Yi Mo couldn't help being angry. Pill City had one truth realization state cultivator and when he left the Infinity Sect wouldn't stop him. Yet he didn't take Ji Ling's body and preserve it. Yi Mo felt assured now and gave the two things to Ji Ling. Then he set up a spirit gathering formation and even took out a spirit marrow pond for him. After this, Yi Mo set up a stealth restriction and defense formation in his room before letting Ji Ling rebuild his body while he manned Blue Moon. A month later, Yi Mo felt the spirit Kai waves inside and knew it was the crucial moment for Ji Ling rebuilding his body and became even more careful. The second month was about to pass and Yi Mo watched Ji Ling constantly. He was only about 1 month from the rendezvous point. A few days passed and Ji Ling still didn't come out. Yi Mo was beginning to worry as Ji Ling said he would take 2 months at most, but now it was 2 months and 3 days. Just when Yi Mo wanted to check on Ji Ling's progress, a light flew rapidly towards him. Yi Mo stopped immediately. In a blink of an eye, it passed Blue Moon. Yi Mo recognized who it was and then, immediately it flew back. Yi Mo's eyes went cold and Zishu appeared. Blue Moon had to stop as another light flew over. The woman who turned back was Meng Hanan. She was covered in blood and heavily injured. She didn't expect to meet Yi Mo here and said desperately, I have no ill will for you, it's so great you're fine. May I ask where my disciple Meng Qi is now? Before Yi Mo could reply, the other dashing light stopped in front of Blue Moon. It was a disaster transformation state level 4. The man saw Yi Mo and dazed before laughing in surprise and joy. It's you, Yi Mo, this is all too easy. He gave up Meng Hanan and reached for Yi Mo. Yi Mo sneered and released Zishu. This disaster transformation state level 4 was from the Tonghai cult. He could tell from the clothes. Instantly, Zishu clashed with the giant hand. Blood shot out and the man backed off with fury and anger. He underestimated Yi Mo and lost 2 fingers to a body condensation state cultivator. But then, he saw clearly, Yi Mo, who was only body condensation state at the Chu 18 discs, was now cauldron filling state level 2. Yi Mo didn't leave him time to recover. Zishu swept over again. Illusion Cloud Domain Shattering Strike. This was Yi Mo's Illusion Cloud 8th strike. This was the first time he used it after creating it. Yi Mo didn't dare to hold back against this disaster transformation state master and used all his might. Meng Hanan looked at Yi Mo in shock. She didn't expect Yi Mo to go from body condensation state level 7 to cauldron filling state level 2 in a few months' time. This was inhuman speed. She suddenly thought of the words Yi Mo said to Yong Lanyi. She realized that it wasn't Yi Mo sucking up to Yong Lanyi but telling him that he would be back for revenge. According to this progress, Yi Mo wouldn't need much time to reach truth realization state at all. Meng Hanan subconsciously shivered. Yi Mo was only cauldron filling state level 2 and could take on this disaster transformation state level 4 hunting her. If he reached truth realization state, wouldn't Yonglani only be able to wait for death? Such an absurd cultivator, was Meng Hanen's only thought. Not only Yi Mo's cultivation speed but also his battle power was insane. That disaster transformation state level 4 cultivator saw he got injured in his overconfidence, but this cauldron filling state level 2 dared to attack him again. He was immediately furious. That disaster transformation state level 4 cultivator saw he got injured in his overconfidence, but this cauldron filling state level 2 dared to attack him again. He was immediately furious. He raised his hand and a dark ring appeared in his hand. Just when Zishu hacked over, he released his dark ring. It immediately expanded in the air into a 10-meter-long dark ring. Inside, the ring was gloomy dark like the netherworld. Meng Hanen recovered from her shock of seeing Yi Mo's drastic increase in cultivation level and called hurriedly, "That's Abyssal Prison Ring, don't let him catch you inside. It's like hell inside, once you go in you can't come out." Meng Hanen had suffered greatly in this terrifying dark ring. She would have long been caught if she didn't have a few secret techniques. The disaster transformation state snarled, "Too late, a mere cauldron filling state level 2 dares to be cocky in front of me." In that instant, Yi Mo and that disaster transformation state cultivator disappeared. There was only a huge dark ring floating above the heartless sea. Meng Hanen immediately wanted to go up and help, but before she could, she saw a purple beam flash out from the dark mist. At the start there was only one, but instantly, the purple rays expanded, turning into a purple sun rising up from the black mist. Thud the obscurity of the dark ring disappeared while Yi Mo's figure appeared in the middle of the purple. As the purple expanded, his figure also became clearer. Meng Hanen was dazed. Even though she was disaster transformation state level 2, if she was caught by it she wouldn't be able to break free. Yi Mo was only cauldron filling state, how did he break free? Before she spoke, she heard that Tong Hai cult cultivator say in shock, "Your domain is in early completion and you mold it into your sword technique." A cauldron filling state primary stage cultivator might know some little things about domain but he wouldn't be able to control much, but he found that Yi Mo's sword technique not only had a clear control of domain but was also mold together. His abyssal prison ring was also domain control, but he couldn't get the upper hand in domain control at all. At the same time Yi Mo broke this cultivator's domain, he realized that he could only break free but not kill him. The difference in power wasn't something a domain could make up for. But Yi Mo had made up his mind to kill this disaster transformation state cultivator. He wanted to kill Tong Hai cult cultivators the most. Even if he couldn't kill Yonglani now, it was good to kill a few of his dogs. So when Yi Mo broke free from the abyssal prison domain, he called out Shadowless and used illusion cloud formation kill strike. He needed to create an opportunity for Shadowless, so he had to trap this cultivator, even if it was just for 1 second. Then, Yi Mo followed up with a few spirit sense strikes, but he was disappointed to find that even so, he wasn't able to trap that cultivator for a second. His abyssal prison ring was too powerful. Not only did it instantly crush Yi Mo's purple sword rays but also stopped Yi Mo's formation kill strike from forming while blocking his spirit sense blades. The difference in power was too great. It was really hard to kill this disaster transformation state level 4. Meanwhile, the disaster transformation state cultivator was feeling more and more shocked. He felt Yi Mo had endless means and he noticed his spirit sense hurting, so he used abyssal prison ring to protect himself without hesitation. A cauldron filling state level 2 was able to force a stalemate with him. He didn't dare to imagine this. His broken fingers weren't reconnected as he didn't have the time to do so. He didn't underestimate Yi Mo at all now. He knew that if he did, he would be killed here. The disaster transformation state cultivator released another sword magic artifact. This sword had 4 blades and was a middle-grade cultivation artifact. Yi Mo felt the pressure from that cultivation artifact and was more desperate. He was scared that Meng Hanen would use this opportunity to go on to Blue Moon. Ji Ling was still rebuilding his body. If he was interrupted the consequences would be dire. Luckily, this didn't happen. Meng Hanen was also very shocked seeing this stalemate. She was sure that although she was disaster transformation state level 2, she was no match for Yi Mo. Even her domain wasn't in initial completion. Meng Hanen immediately attacked with a flying sword to help Yi Mo. This made Yimo breathe easier. With her help he could kill this man for sure. He didn't even release his octagonal cauldron like he planned before. As soon as Meng Hanan came up, the disaster transformation state level 4's face changed. Yimo saw fear in his eyes. He wanted to run. How could Yimo let him escape? He used illusion cloud Hua mountain strike. A long purple ray swept over. Even Meng Hanan felt the brilliance of it, but she instantly woke up. This was the perfect opportunity. Her flying sword also raised dense sword light sweeping at the disaster transformation state level 4. Seeing this, the Tong Hai cult cultivator's heart shook. He had a bad feeling, and before he could think, he wanted to use the abyssal prison ring to block this magnificent purple ray. Asterisk clank asterisk, the purple ray clashed with the ring, activating more purple sword rays. These sword rays didn't span out but instead formed a formation, wanting to trap the disaster transformation state cultivator and his ring. The disaster transformation state cultivator grunted, and before he could leave, Meng Hanan's sword light came over. He was shook and spat a mouthful of blood before wanting to escape, but how could Yimo let him? He used Purple Eye Soul Sever again while letting Shadowless attack at the same time. His sword was still blocking Meng Hanan's sword light while the ring was covered by the purple sword rays. He couldn't block Yimo's spirit sense strikes anymore. It wasn't enough to kill him, but the spirit sense blades sunk his sea of consciousness into a brief pause. He felt his sea of consciousness ache while Shadowless charged into his meridians. The disaster transformation state cursed, and before he could envelop Shadowless, Yimo's purple sword rays hacked out. Meng Hanan saw this and stopped attacking. That extremely vibrant and flashy purple ray dazed her. She saw the disaster transformation state cultivator in despair, and her heart went a little cold. Although she helped Yimo, she knew she only drew a little portion of the cultivator's attention. The disaster transformation state saw the purple ray come, but he couldn't call back his ring. He was screaming in his heart, "Just give me 1 second, even half a second would be good." However, the purple ray already came down on his head. The disaster transformation state glared hatefully at Yimo and escaped in essence spirit form. Yimo looked at this and didn't move. He knew Shadowless wasn't going to let it go. Indeed, Shadowless dashed in a black line and devoured the essence spirit clean. At this moment, a bloody mist exploded above the Heartless Sea, and Yimo took back the ring and a storage ring before landing on Blue Moon. Shadowless spun around Yimo and disappeared on him. Meng Hanan looked dazedly at Yimo. "Your cauldron filling state primary stage, but you killed disaster transformation state middle stage Yongyang." "Oh, he's called Yongyang?" Yimo asked. Meng Hanan nodded. "Yes, his Yong Lani's niece. If it wasn't that he wanted me alive, I would have been long dead. Even if I die, I wouldn't live with someone like him." Yimo sneered. "Yeah, your status is royal and you can't live with other people. But your disciple has a peasant life and she can marry anyone." Meng Hanan looked down in guilt. "I owe Chichi. Whether you believe it or not, I did use you, but I didn't use Chichi. I left the spirit sense mark on because I was worried something would happen to her." Yimo waved his hand in contempt. "I don't want to talk to you, but I won't kill you. Leave." Meng Hanan laughed at herself. "Leave? Where can I go? The Sea Cultivator Alliance is about to be named Yong. Where can I go? Yong Lani will only blame Yongyang's death on me. Even if I run to South Peace State, he won't let me go." Meng Hanan laughed at herself. "Leave? Where can I go? The Sea Cultivator Alliance is about to be named Yong. Where can I go? Yong Lani will only blame Yongyang's death on me. Even if I run to South Peace State, he won't let me go. Sea Cultivator Alliance belongs to Tong Hai sect now?" Yimo asked in confusion. Meng Hanan said sadly, "The reason I could stand my ground in the Sea Cultivator Alliance was because of the other Vice Alliance leader, Tai Ha. But this time, there were a lot of spirit herbs on the Feng Chu Island. The Tong Hai sect got the least and Yong Lani was greedy. He didn't dare to start trouble with Kang Hai Palace, so he came to the Sea Cultivator Alliance. Wang Kang doesn't have the temperament of an alliance leader at all and is now Yong Lani's dog. Wang Kang knew Tai Ha and I wouldn't agree, so before Tai Ha finished solitary cultivation, he suddenly attacked our power. Tai Ha was killed by their ambush and I was hunted out. Meng Qi is my disciple. I left a spirit sense mark on her because I was afraid of something happening to her. The 3 C's power factions are complicated. Her hollow spirit state power is too low. If she was in danger, I would know at any time. Yimo sneered. So that meant marrying her to Yong Wuzi was out of goodwill too? Meng Hanan said in guilt, although I agreed to Yong Lanyi's proposal, I never wanted to marry Chichi to Yong Wuzi, but I couldn't resist at the time. I wanted to wait for Brother Tai to finish solitary cultivation and let him say that Chichi was in solitary cultivation. So what if she was? If Yong Lanyi is forcefully going to take her away, what are you going to do? Yimo asked her coldly. Meng Hanan said melancholically, I can't protect her. Yimo said in derision, since you can't protect her, why won't you let her go? Meng Hanan looked up and said calmly, because she still has a sliver of chance on the island. You think she can live if I let her go? Even if I can't protect her, she would be able to stay alive if she married to Yong Wuzi. If I let her leave Ling Island and go out into the Heartless Sea, I'm sure she won't survive for 3 months. Tragic things will happen to her. You think everyone is as powerful as you? Yimo was lost for words. He felt Meng Hanan was right. In that situation, there was no other way but to marry her to Yong Wuzi. As for escaping to South Peace State, Meng Qi didn't have an extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact. Even if she had a low-grade flying cultivation artifact, how could she run from the Tong Hai sect? Even if she got out, would she be able to escape all those spirit beasts? Thinking about this, his disgust for Meng Hanan lowered a little. As for her tricking him, it was just a deal. He wasn't close to Meng Hanan, he didn't need to waste time on that. Meng Hanan asked again, where did Chichi go? Yimo replied, she went back to her home, I sent her off, she's very safe. Yimo breathed easy, believing Yimo. She fell silent for a while before saying, Yimo, I know you're no ordinary person. You were able to escape through Chu 18 discs, meaning you're at least a level 8 formation grandmaster. I saw you wrongly before. I'll make a deal with you. I'll come with you to search for the immortal curl flower regardless of life and death. I just want you to take me to leave Heartless Sea. She looked at Yimo's extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact, clearly hoping it would take her to leave Heartless Sea. Without it, even with her disaster transformation state power, she might die in the Heartless Sea. Not everyone was as lucky as Bien Fengta. Yimo smiled faintly. He really didn't like this Meng Hanan's character and he already got immortal curl flower, he didn't need her. Meng Hanan continued, I didn't tell you clearly before, the place with immortal curl flower is Lost Soul Ruins. I didn't go in when I went there because it was too dangerous, but now that I have nowhere to go, if you're willing to take me to any state, I can help you. Yimo realized that the reason she said this was because she didn't know how dangerous the Lost Soul Ruins was at all. But from another perspective, she indeed had nowhere to go. Yimo thought and wanted to point her to South Peace State. If she was careful she would be able to reach there. Ha ha. Just when Yimo wanted to talk, he heard a loud laugh. Yimo rejoiced. He immediately knew Ji Ling had finished reconstructing his body. He turned around and saw Ji Ling walk out happily. Ji Qianbei, you've succeeded. Yimo called out in surprise and joy. Ji Ling laughed. Brother Yimo, I owe you big time. I thought my cultivation level would stop at disaster transformation state in this life, but now because of your immortal curl flower, I can progress one step, haha. Yimo said, if it wasn't for me, how could you be in that state? Alliance leader Meng, why are you here? Ji Ling saw Meng Hanan and asked. Meng Hanan said in surprise and joy, it really is you, Ji Qianbei, how are you? If Ji Ling was here, why didn't he appear when Yimo was fighting that disaster transformation state level 4? Ji Ling said, come here, why are you standing outside? Meng Hanan glanced at Yimo and before she said anything, Yimo quickly said, Alliance leader Meng, please get on. Ji Ling didn't know the story between the two but clearly he was happy to see Meng Hanan. Ji Ling asked immediately, how is Brother Lu lately? Meng Hanan bowed and said sadly, Brother Lu is gone. It's Wang Kang who controls the Sea Cultivator Alliance now and he joined the Tong Hai cult. I have nowhere to go now, I wanted to find a big state to go, but I didn't expect to meet Chen Bei here. How is that possible? Brother Lu is very powerful. How can he suddenly die? Jiling asked. Meng Hanan replied, he died 100 years ago. He was ambushed in the Heartless Sea and wasn't able to make it out. After that, Wang Kang became alliance leader, Tai Ha and I became vice alliance leaders. Jiling sighed. Moments later, Jiling continued, alliance leader Meng, when I came to Ling Island, you and Brother Lu were very welcoming. So you don't need to be too polite here. Don't worry, if you have nowhere to go, you can come with us. Brother Yi Mo is very nice, don't worry. Meng Hanan breathed easy, thank you Ji Qianbei. Then she said to Yi Mo, thank you Marshal Brother Yi, please don't mind what I did on Chich's account. Since Ji Ling agreed, Yi Mo wasn't going to make him lose face, so he quickly said, Sister Meng, you're too polite. It's my honor you can come aboard Blue Moon. But then she thought of what Ji Ling said and looked at him in shock. Ji Qianbei, you said Marshal Brother Yi got you immortal curl flower? He went to the Lost Soul ruins and came back out alive. Ji Ling nodded. If it wasn't for Brother Yi, my life would be long gone. It's my luck that I was able to meet Brother Yi Mo. You're right, he got the immortal curl flower from the Lost Soul ruins. I wanted to ask about it as well. Yi Mo recounted what he saw inside the Lost Soul ruins simply. Hearing the story of Feng Chun and Miao Huizhen, the two were speechless. Yi Mo didn't want to keep talking about this. He looked at Jiling Ji Qianbei. I heard that you can reach higher cultivation levels after using the immortal curl flower. Is that true? Jiling nodded. That's right. I'm disaster transformation state peak stage peak now. If I have truth spirit pill or truth carrot pill, I can reach truth realization state. Before Yi Mo replied, he laughed. I'm not worried about that. You're level 7 pill king. It won't take more than a few years for you to be able to concoct the truth spirit pill. Meng Hanan heard this and looked at Yi Mo in shock before saying in a daze, You're a level 7 pill king? Jiling looked at Meng Hanan and asked, you know Yi Mo but you don't know he's a level 7 pill king? Jiling looked at Meng Hanan and asked, you know Yi Mo but you don't know he's a level 7 pill king? Yi Mo quickly told how he knew Meng Hanan. Meng Hanan listened while thinking, not even the 3 Cs had a level 7 pill king. The highest was a level 5 pill king. Meng Hanan was very smart and knew how to talk. Plus, she wanted to follow Yi Mo, so she cared more about what she said. After talking for a while, Yi Mo's view of her changed a little again. The more Meng Hanan knew about Yi Mo, the more she was shocked. She just knew that Yi Mo got first place in the highest caliber Pill King tournament in South Peace State and dared to go against the 9-star sects Lightning Cloud sect and Infinity sect. He even set up Moyu City, and what shook her more was that there were level 7 or above Pill Kings there. One of them was a level 8 Pill King. At this moment, she realized Yonglani was really nothing compared to Yi Mo. The Tonghai sect only had 3 truth realization state cultivators, at most a comparable to a middle-class 9-star sect. Yi Mo wasn't even afraid of top-class 9-star sects, much less a Tonghai sect. Yonglani was only in the Heartless Sea. If he went to South Peace State, he wouldn't dare to challenge Moyu City. Knowing that Yi Mo was going to North Far State, Meng Hanan had made up her mind that she was going to go with Yi Mo no matter what. Such a young level 7 pill king, clearly, he could reach higher levels in the future. It was already quite something that Jiling looked at Yi Mo so favorably. Plus, there was a level 8 pill king in Moyu City. If she didn't grasp this opportunity, she would be an idiot. Meng Hanan was experienced in life, and although she hadn't been with Yi Mo for long, she could tell Yi Mo took relationships and emotions seriously, or he wouldn't help Meng Qi get away. Although she didn't know how Meng Qi got away, Yi Mo was a formation grandmaster, so clearly there were means she couldn't imagine. It was because she knew Yi Mo's character that she was certain as long as she didn't betray Yi Mo and helped him wholeheartedly, she would get his recognition one day. Ji Qianbei, are you going back to South Peace State or North Far State now? Yi Mo asked without considering what Meng Hanan thought. If Ji Ling was to go back to South Peace State, great, let him take Meng Hanan away. If he was going to North Far State, it was also good as they could discuss formations together. With a disaster transformation state peak stage cultivator, he was much safer on the way. Ji Ling smiled. I was troubled that we didn't have time to discuss formations. I didn't expect your formation skills to have reached that of a level 9 Grandmaster. We can talk about it on the way, so I'll go North Far State as well. Yi Mo was also very happy hearing this. However, Meng Hanan was the happiest hearing this. How could she not know Yi Mo didn't really like her? If Jiling was going to South Peace State, she would have to follow. Then she wouldn't be able to stay with Yi Mo. 2 days later, Jiling, who was discussing formations with Yi Mo, suddenly looked north and said, "There's another middle-grade flying cultivation artifact with 2 people on it. They seem to be going the same direction. Yi Mo, are those your friends?" Yi Mo's spirit sense was powerful, but not as powerful as Jiling's, so he couldn't see. However, he was almost certain it was Bien Fengta and Teng Yi. He immediately controlled Blue Moon to chase up, and indeed, he saw the two. The two also noticed Yi Mo and moved their flying cultivation artifact over. The 3 were very happy to see each other. Yi Mo then introduced Jiling and Meng Hanan. The 5 soon got to know each other well. Blue Moon changed directions to fly towards North Far State. When Bien Fengta and Teng Yi learned that Yi Mo got Immortal Curl Flower from the Lost Soul Ruins and cured Jiling, they were also shocked. It seemed to them that there was nothing Yi Mo couldn't do. Blue Moon went faster and faster, and the 5 people got closer. Yi Mo didn't expect when he left South Peace State alone that he would have a 5-man squad in less than a year. At this moment, on the island Yi Mo and Bien Fengta arranged to meet, there were 5 Truth Realization State cultivators. If Yi Mo was here, he would recognize them to be the 5 from the Dragon Teng Palace. If Yi Mo didn't meet Bien Fengta and them on the way, they would have ran right into their hands. Sometimes, the difference between life and death was just that fine a line apart. The reason they came here was because they found marks of Yi Mo's formation. They were going to the 3 seas, so they passed here and came down to check. Teng Yi was no formation master, but he could tell the remnants here made by the same person as the ones he saw in the Lost Soul Ruins. The other people could tell as well. It seems Yi Mo did indeed come from the 3 seas, but will he go back? Lan Chirue asked. Ting Xiong nodded. Indeed, if I'm not wrong, Yi Mo will go back to the 3 seas. Perhaps he is behind us. I think we should send 2 people to guard here, and the remaining 3 should go to the 3 seas. If Yi Mo goes to the 3 seas, he will have to pass by here. No matter who finds Yi Mo, we must control him together. The people all agreed, and eventually Gong Zhe and Huang Qi stayed behind. South Peace State Pill City. Pill City was still the same Pill City, but it wasn't as prosperous as before. But as the only 10-star city, there were still lots of cultivators gathered here. At one Pill King estate, there was a youth who was only nascent soul state level 2 and a grey-robed cultivator sitting opposite each other. It was Mo Yushan and Zhao Shuntian. Yi Mo had conflict with the Pill City and wasn't going to come back, so Changshan Pill King brought Mo Yushan back here. Zhao Shuntian sighed. Even this didn't do anything to that Yi Mo. Don't go out walking around anymore. He's a level 7 Pill King and has Yu Chichao and Shen Guanqing helping him. He's getting stronger and stronger. If you want revenge, you need to hurry up and get stronger. I heard that Yi Mo is already body condensation state. The difference between you two is too great. Mo Yushan nodded hatefully. Master, I know. If it wasn't for you this time, I would have been killed by him, but my power is too low right now. I can't get revenge. From today onwards I will cultivate very hard. Zhao Shuntian nodded. Your surname is also Yi and you look very similar to him. I even suspect that you two might be related. Mo Yushan said, so what if he's related to me? I will kill him for sure. I have enmity deep as the sea with him. If I can't kill him, my Dao heart can't be fulfilled, Master. Zhao Shuntian nodded. I'm only going to help one of you. Even if that Yi Mo is Yi Cai's descendant, it's the same. I haven't seen your father Yi Cai, but since I agreed with your grandpa Yi Wusuo, you don't need to worry. I will treat any of his descendant who comes to me with the authenticating object as my own kin. Mo Yushan said, I've never seen my father as well. I heard my mother say he left when I was very young to look for grandpa. Master, I've heard that Yi Mo came from North Far State. Does he have family there? Zhao Shuntian looked at Mo Yushan and said plainly, I know what you mean, but regardless, don't think of using the teleportation formation to North Far State. Without an appropriate reason, even the Grand City Lord of Pill City wouldn't be able to use that to get there. Zhao Shuntian looked at Mo Yushan and said plainly, I know what you mean, but regardless, don't think of using the teleportation formation to North Far State. Without an appropriate reason, even the Grand City Lord of Pill City wouldn't be able to use that to get there. As though feeling his tone was too serious, he said, your only mission now is to cultivate. Perhaps your grandpa Yi Wusuo has ascended to the immortal realm. Even if you can't kill Yi Mo in the cultivation realm, as long as you can ascend to immortal realm, you can kill him there. Plus, you're in the Pill City. Do you not know the power of the Pill City? Your cultivation resources will only be better than Yi Mo's. Yes, master. Mo Yushan agreed, though still wanting to say something. Zhao Shuntian waved his hand. You don't need to say it, I know what you mean, don't think about that Xiao Xian now. When your power is high, it's not a problem at all. In the air above the deep region of the Heartless Sea, Blue Moon dashed past rapidly. This was the 5th month they had met, and during this time, Yi Mo was always in solitary cultivation. Other than Bian Fengta and Teng Yi, who discussed their cultivation experiences, Jiling also started solitary cultivation to consolidate his power. As for Meng Hanan, she often went into solitary cultivation after Yi Mo. She would come out and talk with Bian Fengta and Teng Yi occasionally. In the Golden Page world, Yi Mo was cauldron filling state level 4 peak now. He stopped cultivation for now and started on forgery and pill concoction. Yi Mo knew his time was short even with the time formation disc. The reason he was concocting pills was because he wanted to reach level 9 Pill King as quickly as possible to concoct the Truth Spirit pill for Jiling. As for forgery, it was Bixu he got large amounts of forgery materials on Ling Island. Time went by quickly and 2 months later, Yi Mo still didn't ease up. When he used up the ordinary level 7 and level 8 spirit herbs as well as those forgery materials, he began cultivation again. After the 11th month, Yi Mo broke through to cauldron filling state level 6 and stopped his cultivation. He had to stop as the extreme grade spirit range he got from the Chu 18 discs had disappeared after he and the time formation disc devoured it like crazy. Other than this, Yi Mo still had a half extreme grade spirit range and the Herb King spirit range as well as the extreme grade spirit range from Ice God Forbidden Grounds. Yi Mo buried the low grade spirit range below the Golden Page world as it wasn't much use to Yi Mo now. The longer he used the time formation disc, the higher the amount of spirit Kai he used up also multiplied, but he couldn't stop mid-cultivation. Yi Mo also found that if he used an extreme grade spirit range to provide spirit Kai for the time formation disc, it would waste up to 90% of the spirit Kai. No matter how well he set up his direct spirit Kai formation, it was useless. This meant that the best thing to power the time formation disc were spirit stones or higher spirit sources. They had to be put directly into the time formation disc. Otherwise, using a formation to redirect it would cause waste. Yi Mo left the Golden Page world and sighed. If he couldn't find more extreme grade spirit ranges, it would be hard for him to progress into disaster transformation state rapidly. He couldn't touch any of the spirit ranges he had now. That half extreme grade spirit range would at most let him reach cauldron filling state level 7, he might as well bury it under Mo Yu City. As soon as Yi Mo came out, Meng Hanan came out too. She and the rest of the people saw Yi Mo was already cauldron filling state level 6 and were speechless. In just a year, Yi Mo went from cauldron filling state level 2 to level 6. What speed was this? Yi Mo, you broke through again. How are we going to live? Teng Yi felt his confidence was struck. Bian Fengta smiled. Yi Mo already gave us so many cauldron essence pills, are you scared you can't reach disaster transformation state? I'm already cauldron filling state level 8 peak. I've never cultivated so fast before. Yi Mo told them with a sigh, my cultivation speed will be slowing down now. The three thought Yi Mo was being humble and didn't mind. Blue Moon sped away while the four discussed about cultivation and benefited each other quite a lot. The other three didn't care much about some of Yi Mo's cultivation experience at first, but as questions were being brought up, they were shocked to realize that no matter what question it was, Yi Mo could easily provide an answer, despite him having the lowest cultivation level of them. Luckily, They were used to Yi Mo's absurd talent and began to accept this fast. They would ask Yi Mo about things they didn't know and he answered them all. This was the power of the three-birth chant. Soon, 3 days passed again. Just when they were talking about forgery, Bien Fengta took out his middle-grade flying cultivation artifact to show off. The difference between low-grade and middle-grade was hundreds of times in price. Teng Yi said sourly, Yi Mo has extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact but I don't see him showing off. You only have a middle-grade flying cultivation artifact. However, he was the only one with a low-grade flying cultivation artifact. Bien Fengta smiled. He, let's not compare with Yi Mo, he's not normal. But Teng, don't be jealous. Do you know how hard it was for me to get this? I searched more than 100 years just for the materials and used half of that time to ask this very famous level 8 forgery grandmaster to forge it for me. Teng, I must say, there aren't a lot of forgery masters amongst beast cultivators. You've probably never even seen a level 8 forgery grandmaster. Teng Yi was lost for words but he couldn't argue. Yi Mo knew that Bien Fengta had the right to brag. His middle-grade flying cultivation artifact was the top-notch in middle grade. Meng Hanan looked at Bien Fengta and suddenly smiled at Yi Mo. Martial brother Yi, you're probably going to become a forgery grand master soon, right? Meng Hanan knew Yi Mo was a level 9 forgery great master, but there was a huge gap between forgery great master and forgery grand master. Yi Mo smiled. That's right, I've just reached forgery grand master. I can only forge some low-quality low-grade cultivation artifacts. In his 11 years of solitary cultivation, in the time formation disk, he used all the forgery materials he had and now his storage ring was filled with extreme-grade spirit artifacts and low-grade cultivation artifacts. Some low-grade cultivation artifacts even reached level 3. Yi Mo didn't expect that with this, everyone would look at him like he was some monster. Teng Yi looked at Yi Mo speechlessly. Is there something you don't know? You're probably a Grand Master level rune maker, right? Yi Mo smiled. I can only make low-level runes, not even middle level, so you guessed wrong. There was another laugh and Ji Ling came out of solitary cultivation after consolidating his power. He sighed. Many years ago, my master told me that the greatest prodigy would be able to be an expert in more than 2-side cultivations, pill concoction, forgery, formations, rune making, and so forth. Yi Mo brother, you're an exception. I've never seen a cultivator more prodigious than you. I'm sure if you studied rune making, you would soon become a grandmaster too. Yi Mo quickly got up. Jiling Qianbei, you've finished consolidating your power? Jiling nodded and sat down, joining their conversation. Yi Mo said, with Blue Moon, it will be about a year until we reach North Far State. This is just as I expected. Jiling said, we've been lucky and had no trouble along the way. We didn't meet any powerful beast cultivators. Plus, your extreme-grade cultivation artifact is too fast. Many beast cultivators can't be bothered chasing up. If we encounter a truth realization state beast cultivator who isn't scared of trouble, we won't be enough. Yi Mo nodded. Jiling Qianbei is right. If my Blue Moon was a half-immortal artifact, then we might have already reached North Far State. Meng Hanan suddenly asked, Martial brother Yi, have you heard of the magical beast Kuan? Yi Mo nodded. Of course he knew about Kuan. In one ancient record it said, in the deep north there's a fish, its name is Kuan. Kuan's size is thousands of kilometers, it can transform into a bird named Peng. Peng's back is thousands of kilometers. It flies in anger, its wings like clouds dripping form the sky. Yi Mo nodded, of course he knew about Kuan. In one ancient record it said, in the deep north there's a fish, its name is Kuan. Kuan's size is thousands of kilometers, it can transform into a bird named Peng. Peng's back is thousands of kilometers. It flies in anger, its wings like clouds dripping form the sky. This meant that Peng was transformed from Kuan and Peng's speed was extremely fast, there was nothing that could compare. His Blue Moon had the tail feather of the 9-feather golden Peng. That was a level 10 material. It was said that 9-feather golden Peng only had very little of the magical beast Peng's bloodline. Meng Hanan nodded. I heard that Kuan once appeared in the Heartless Sea, it was just one small Kuan egg. I don't know where the egg fell from, but it hatched and was already level 7. Almost everyone came wanting to get it, even if they couldn't get the beast. Getting a scale or a drop of blood was also very good. Teng Yi immediately nodded. That's right, I've heard of it too. The big states were too far away, but almost all the sea region powers were all out. Even the peak truth realization state cultivators of the big states came later on. Meng Hanan said, that Kuan disappeared. It's unknown if someone captured it or it escaped itself. However, this Kuan was injured many times and left behind 3 scales. One of them is the backward scale. Yi Mo seemed to understand what Meng Hanan wanted to say. Kuan's scale itself was beyond level 10 material. Meng Hanan nodded. Yes, the Kuan scale, the backward scale was taken by a truth realization state peak stage of the Heartless Sea, and one of the scales landed in the public city of the Heartless Sea, Yinhai City. The last one is gone. Ji Ling suddenly said, Hanan, you mean that with Blue Moon's speed, if it has 1 Kuan scale, it would immediately become a half-immortal artifact, right? Meng Hanan smiled. Yes, I heard Martial Brother Yi say Blue Moon is too slow, and I thought of this. If one day Martial Brother Yi goes to Yinhai City, he might be able to buy it. The backward scale is a top-grade defense magic artifact material, but the forward scale is a top-grade flying magic artifact material. Ji Ling said seriously, if Yi Mo's Blue Moon gets the forward scale, it would definitely be more than a half-immortal artifact. It would be an immortal artifact for sure. Yi Mo looked at Ji Ling in confusion. Ji Qianbei, how can you be so sure? Ji Ling smiled. Because Lu Qianbei told me that your Blue Moon already used the 9-feather golden Peng's tail feather. It's still a part of the Peng bloodline. If it has Kuan's scale, it would really become the Kuan Peng. Yi Mo was interested. He had offended too many people, and if his Blue Moon became an immortal artifact, then he could run if he couldn't beat them. And now, Yi Mo knew the power of truth realization state cultivators. His flying cultivation artifact was much better than Jie Feng's, but he was still able to catch up to him after he left a long while earlier. This meant that with his current power, he couldn't escape from truth realization state cultivators. But soon Yi Mo calmed down. He knew that was impossible. He didn't know what that city was, and even if he did, how could he get it? If that scale was so easily attained, then it would have long been taken away by truth realization state cultivator. Meng Hanan saw Yi Mo look at her and she shook her head. You don't need to look at me, I don't know Yinhai City either. I've just heard people talk about it. Yi Mo smiled. I learned something today. If I can really go to the Yinhai City one day, I might be able to find it there. But now, we should hurry up and get a move on. Ji Ling suddenly said, I actually know that Yinhai City, my ancestor went there once when crossing the Heartless Sea. So, I have the sea markings for it, but it's said to be in the deepest part of the Heartless Sea. It's a neutral city. There are spirit beasts, beast cultivators, human cultivators, and even ghost cultivators, but they can coexist in harmony. Then Ji Qianbei, try using your compass and see how far it is from here. We can help Yi Mo see. What if we can really buy it? I still have a few million spirit stones, Teng Yi quickly said. Meng Hanan laughed. Teng, if it's really on sale there, you might only need tens of thousands of extreme-grade spirit stones. Teng Yi blushed. I have top-grade spirit stones, not extreme-grade. Ta patted Teng Yi. Teng, Sister Meng is joking with you, can't you tell? If the scale is really there, even a few 100 million top-grade spirit stones wouldn't be enough. Ji Ling said seriously, if it's really a Kuan scale, then a few 100 million is indeed not enough. He then looked at Yi Mo and asked, Brother Yi, if you want to go Yinhai City, I can help you find the approximate location. But, I can tell you for sure that even if there is Kuan scale, it's impossible for us to buy it. Even if we buy it, we can't take it away. Yi Mo thought for a long while before saying, Ji Qianbei, would there be danger in that city? It's in the depth of the Heartless Sea and most of them are beast cultivators. Ji Ling agreed. I don't know the current Yinhai City, but a few thousand years ago, it was said that all cultivators lived in harmony. However, harmony is established on power. Without it, it's impossible. Yi Mo said without hesitation, Ji Qianbei, although I don't have enough spirit stones to buy the Kuan scale, I still want to go see it. Even if we don't go in, I can know an approximate location. Before he found his daughter Yimo, who was still in North Far State, he wouldn't stop traveling between South Peace State and North Far State. It was impossible to set up a teleportation formation as it took an entire state to set that up. He wasn't as wealthy as an entire state. Ji Ling heard this and said immediately, "Who has a compass?" Meng Hanan took out the highest grade compass, so Ji Ling used it. After calculating for a long while, he told Yimo to take Blue Moon a little west. Another 10 days, Ji Ling told him to go northwest. Just like this, they kept on changing until 1 month later, Ji Ling finally told Yimo to stop. He pointed at the Big Sea region. "It's around here. I don't know the exact location as I haven't been here." "What do we do?" Ting Yi asked. Yimo just wanted to say find a nearby beast cultivator and ask when he saw 2 lights dash across his spirit sense. He immediately flew over with Blue Moon. Blue Moon was so much faster than the 2 beams traveling and caught up instantly. It was 2 cauldron-filling state cultivators, both primary stage. They immediately took out their magic artifacts, waiting anxiously. Yimo didn't talk and stinnelled Teng Yi. Teng Yi immediately knew what Yimo meant. He was the only beast cultivator here. Teng Yi saluted with his fists. "Brothers, we're just coming past here. We want to ask where the Yin High City is. Can you please tell us?" The 2 heard this and breathed easy. The red-haired beast cultivator saluted with his fists. "We just came from there. Just go west about 60,000 kilometers from here and you'll arrive." "Thank you. Please go as you wish," Teng Yi said happily. This distance was really just a moment for Blue Moon. Yimo saw the 2 leave with glimmering eyes. He felt that the beast cultivator seemed to be hiding something. When they arrived at where the 2 beast cultivators pointed them to, they faced a 100-meter-long rock. It was derelict like a small island. When they arrived at where the 2 beast cultivators pointed them to, they faced a 100-meter-long rock. It was derelict like a small island. They landed on this rock but couldn't find the entrance. "How do we get in?" Bian Fengta looked around and asked in confusion. Ji Ling said, "There should be a formation here. I didn't ask precisely how to get in." Yimo could already tell there was a formation here, but neither he nor Ji Ling found the entrance. Just when he wanted to check carefully, another flying magic artifact came over. It was a low-grade cultivation artifact. As soon as it stopped, an eagle-eyed cultivator got off. He was disaster transformation state level 6. He landed on the rock and scanned Yimo and them without saying anything. Then he waved at his flying magic ship. 2 girls got off, one seemed to be the master and the other seemed to be the maid. The woman behind was carefully helping the woman ahead. The woman being held was cauldron-filling state, and thus that was just to show her status. Yimo scanned them and didn't care anymore. He focused his eyes on the eagle-eyed male cultivator, wanting to know how he would get into the city. The cultivator glared back coldly at Yimo but then scanned Ji Ling and didn't say anything. His expression showed that he didn't consider Ji Ling a threat. He took out a black jade card and swiped in the air above the rock and a door appeared. Yimo's eyes focused. This was a void formation door. He never even realized it before and neither did Ji Ling. This void formation door was much more powerful than the one he saw at All Herb Mountain Range. "Let's go in," the man turned back and said to the 2 women. Just when they wanted to go in, Yimo suddenly said, "Wait." The eagle-eyed man's power rose drastically and he stared coldly at Yimo. "What? Are you going to stop Yin Sho, from going in the city?" Yimo didn't answer him but looked at the other blue-dressed girl. "You're Guang Wei?" The blue-dressed girl shook and looked up. Then, she immediately saw Yimo. It was indeed Guang Wei. Yimo didn't expect the North Far State Immortal Herb Valley's disciple Guang Wei would be here. He also said in joy, "It really is you, martial sister Guang Wei, how are you here?" The woman whom Guang Wei held said coldly, "We're going, stop wasting time." "Yes." Guang Wei looked down in horror again. Yimo felt this was wrong. It was already strange she appeared here, but it also seemed her status was lower than a maid. Before the 2 could get in, he stopped them. "What do you want to do?" The eagle-eyed man came up and released his magic artifact. It was a pair of yin-yang locks, a top-grade cultivation artifact. Yi Mo couldn't even be bothered talking to him. He took a step forward and pulled over Guang Wei from that cauldron-filling state female cultivator and sneered. If you want to fight, then fight. Seeing that Yi Mo was about to release Zi Shu, Ji Ling waved his hand at him and Yi Mo thought before stopping. That cauldron-filling state middle stage woman looked at Yi Mo in shock. Yi Mo pulled Guang Wei away from her and yet she couldn't resist at all. You're asking to die. Yin Sho's killing intent rose and his yin-yang locks were humming. However, Yi Mo saw that he didn't really intend to attack. It was more that he was trying to make Yi Mo attack first, but he clearly overestimated himself and Yi Mo didn't move at all. Just then, another cold voice sneered and a skinny man appeared. He scanned them before looking coldly at Yin Sho. Who dares to fight outside the Yin High City? The man didn't expect Yi Mo to not even release his magic artifact after he put on an act for so long. He quickly put away his yin-yang locks and lowered his power while saluting with his fists. Law enforcer, these people dare to rob my cultivation woman. I bought this cultivation woman for a huge price at the Yin High City and I was planning to use her to reach disaster transformation state tertiary stage. Yi Mo was shook when he saw this skinny man. He was truth realization state primary stage and his cultivation method was very eerie. When he heard this man say Guang Wei was his cultivation woman that he planned to use to break through, Yi Mo was furious. Guang Wei helped him many times in the herb plane. How could he watch while she was taken as a cultivation woman? Seeing that the man instantly took back his power and talked very respectfully to the law enforcer, Yi Mo knew that the status of the law enforcer was very high. He also realized why the man didn't truly attack him. He was trying to make him attack first and this way, he would be caught by the law enforcer. Yi Mo felt grateful to Ji Ling seeing the law enforcer look coldly at him. Yi Mo knew that this Yin Sho must be familiar here and they were here for the first time. Of course the law enforcer would help Yin Sho. Yi Mo immediately saluted with his fists. Law enforcer, Guang Wei is my martial sister. As for being a cultivation woman, this is bullshit. Yi Mo was betting that this law enforcer wouldn't care about such trivial matters and so he straight up denied robbing Guang Wei. Guang Wei also said, yes law enforcer, I'm not someone's cultivation woman. The law enforcer sneered. I don't care what's going on between you guys. If anyone dares to fight here I will kill them. You must solve any conflict more than 100,000 kilometers away from here. It was so indeed. Yi Mo went up and saluted with his fists. Yes. Seeing this, Yin Sho was furious but he knew that he wouldn't be able to get her back. If he still wanted to fight, he would have to face the law enforcer. He glared hatefully at Yi Mo and didn't go in the city. Instead he stood on the side waiting for Yi Mo and them while sending a few messages with his communication bead. If Yi Mo went in he would go in, if Yi Mo left he would follow. It seemed as though he was certain he would be able to take Yi Mo and them on. The law enforcer acted as though he didn't see this and scanned Yi Mo. Other than that blue-robed woman, it's your first time here? Yi Mo heard and knew that the law enforcer knew clearly that Guang Wei was bought by the man but he couldn't be bothered caring. Yi Mo quickly replied, yes law enforcer, we want to go to Yin High City but it's our first time here and we don't have the black card so we can't go in. The law enforcer nodded. Yes you need to buy the Yin High card, from 1 to 100 spots, which one do you want to buy? 410 and below I have them here, for 10 to 100 you need to buy it at the Yin High City. Yi Mo just realized that this law enforcer wanted to do this so Yi Mo immediately asked, may I ask law enforcer how many spirit stones are required for 10? 10 million spirit stones, usable for 10 years, the manager said calmly. Yi Mo was shocked, it was this expensive, just an entrance card was 10 million spirit stones. Just how expensive were the things inside? Plus he didn't even have 10 million spirit stones. Knowing this, Yi Mo didn't plan to go in anymore. As though seeing Yi Mo's hesitation, Guang Wei said pitifully, martial brother Yi Mo, my master is still in the Yin High City like me. It seemed that he had to go in now. Her master was being auctioned off as cultivation woman too. Meng Hanan could tell Yi Mo didn't have enough spirit stones so she immediately took out a storage bag and said, there's 50 million here, you can use it first. Yi Mo nodded gratefully and gave the law enforcer 10 million. Yimo used the card he got and swiped in the air. That void formation door appeared again. Yimo walked in and Jiling and them followed. Yimo thought that needing a void formation door, this city would be a submerged city, without a lot of plants. Yimo thought that needing a void formation door, this city would be a submerged city, without a lot of plants. But when they came in, he realized he was wrong. They stood at a huge grassy plain and there was a wide stone road. At the end of the road was an ancient city door. There were 3 words, Yinhai City. The dense spirit Kai here made Yimo feel there was at least an extreme grade spirit range here. It's here, my ancestor said there was a grassy plain in here, Jiling said. Yimo felt a sense of familiarity but he couldn't tell why. He was sure he had never come here before. Bien Fengta gasped, this is the perfect place to hide, but it's a pity that now it's a public city. Everyone knows about this place. If I knew about this place alone I would cultivate and hide here. This spirit Kai. Yimo heard this and finally realized why this place was familiar. When he was in the Ice God Forbidden Grounds and saw Qing Ayu, that big tree was a small world. It was Qing Ayu's small world. After Qing Ayu went inside, it turned into a blue bead. He found that this city had the same Kai as Qing Ayu's small world. Thinking about this, Yimo was surprised and cold sweat ran down his back. If his guess was right and the Yinhai city was a small world, then if this small world was someone else's, they were under this person's complete control. If the Yinhai city had no owner then he was scared, but if it was someone else's small world, should he leave immediately? If he didn't, wouldn't their every action be monitored by someone? Meng Hanan saw Yimo didn't go in and instead frowned. She immediately asked, Martial brother Yi, what's going on? Let's go inside first. Yimo thought there was no point staying here. If it was someone else's small world, they had already come in. Plus, this city had existed for countless years and Jiling didn't tell any strange stories. Regardless whether this small world belonged to someone else, it had nothing to do with him. Thinking about this, Yimo breathed easy and laughed. Yes, let's go in. Despite this, Yimo had made up his mind he would leave here as soon as possible. After walking out a short distance, Yimo saw that Yin Sha also walked in. There was also another disaster transformation state peak stage next to him and a disaster transformation state level 8. It seemed they were keeping an eye on him. Yimo sneered, so what if it was disaster transformation state peak stage? Yimo searched around with his spirit sense carefully and after a while, he took it back. He felt he thought too much. This might be a small world but it probably wasn't controlled by someone. When they came in, the men also followed, but Yimo knew they didn't dare to attack in the city at all so he ignored them. As Jiling said, Yimo saw a lot of beast cultivators inside and many human cultivators. Yimo even saw more than 10 ghost cultivators. More absurdly, Yimo saw 4 spirit beasts who hadn't morphed yet. This strange mix made the city seem very busy. Stores and stalls were everywhere as well as hotels, spirit rest towers, and pill shops. Yimo didn't see truth realization state cultivators walking around but he knew there would be quite some truth realization state cultivators here. Yimo didn't know how big the city was at all because there were spirit sense barrier formations everywhere. Yimo needed to find a quiet place to ask what happened to Guangwei and why she and her master were caught here. Guangwei's master was Ming Xin. Yimo remembered her wanting to marry him into the sect and felt sad. How could she be doing well after being captured here? Yimo had respect for Ming Xin. As the sect leader of Immortal Herb Valley, she didn't have any bad intentions towards him after he rejected her. This was very rare. In the cultivation realm, power was everything and yet Yimo was only a foundation establishment state cultivator at the time. Indeed Ming Xin was a little unhappy, but that was it. So regardless, Yimo was going to come help. The second thing was to look out for the Kuan scale. Yimo saw the men didn't keep following them after he went in. They just stood at the city door. Soon, Yimo and them found a hotel to stay in. After getting into a room, Yimo set up a sound restriction immediately. Seeing this, Jiling nodded. Yimo, you're a natural at formations and restrictions. Yimo smiled but looked at Guangwei and asked, Martial sister Guangwei, Tell me what happened at the Immortal Herb Valley. Why are you and your master being sold as cultivation women? However, Guang Wei said desperately, I will tell you about this later, okay? When I was bought off 3 days ago, my master was still in the market. I don't know how she's doing now, can we go see? Hearing this, Yimo immediately said to the group, why don't I go see with Marshall's sister Guang Wei and you guys wait for me here? Ji Ling immediately said, I'll go with you. Yimo shook his head. No need, fighting isn't allowed here. This can't be solved with numbers. Who else has spirit stones? Lend me some? Tang Yi was about to take out his spirit stones but Meng Hanan stopped him. Yours aren't enough, use mine. Then, Meng Hanan gave Yimo a storage ring. This belongs to my sea treasure tower. Yonglani wanted to capture me greatly because of this. You can use it. Yimo took it and scanned with spirit sense. He then immediately looked at Meng Hanan with shock. Before Yimo could say any words of gratitude, Meng Hanan smiled. I said I would be following you, this can be my fee. Yimo saluted with his fists to Meng Hanan. Thank you Sister Meng, no matter what you did before, from how you helped me out today, I won't betray you. Meng Hanan pushed Yimo and said, hurry up and go rescue them. If possible I want to leave here early, I have a bad feeling here. Yimo was a little shaken, Meng Hanan's instincts were too accurate. Yimo also knew now wasn't the time to be wasting time, so he pulled Guang Wei out of the hotel and said, take me to that market. Guang Wei quickly brought Yimo across a busy street. Yimo was thinking about the storage ring Meng Hanan gave him on the way. It shook Yimo too much. Yimo saw more than 500 million top-grade spirit stones and a few hundred extreme-grade spirit stones. Other than this, there were mountains of spirit herbs, ores, and materials. There weren't level 9 spirit herbs, but he saw more than 10 level 8 spirit herbs. As for pills, Yimo didn't see any, probably because Meng Hanan knew he was a pill king. But since Meng Hanan provided him with this many spirit stones when he needed them the most, Yimo had planned to provide her with pills. Yimo knew this amount of spirit stones was probably 99% of the Sea Treasure Palace's wealth, and yet Meng Hanan gave it all to him. Guang Wei took Yimo across a few streets before coming to a huge square. There weren't a lot of cultivators here and Guang Wei didn't stay here. She turned and took Yimo behind the square into a huge hall. Guang Wei took Yimo across a few streets before coming to a huge square. There weren't a lot of cultivators here and Guang Wei didn't stay here. She turned and took Yimo behind the square into a huge hall. Yimo was certain this was the first time he had seen a hall this big. Even 9-star sect Black Ice Sect's hall wasn't even 1% as big as this. There were all sorts of glamorous stones hanging on the ceiling, shining down on the hall brightly. There were a lot of people here, almost in every corner. Yimo scanned with spirit sense and there were all sorts of strange things here. He even saw a few ghost cultivators dealing cultivator souls. As for spirit beasts, and golden core or even nascent soul cultivators and essence spirits, they was all too common. Seeing this, Yimo sighed. If an ordinary person came here he would be scared into psychosis. Guang Wei looked around frantically immediately and wasn't able to find the person she looked for a long time. She looked extremely worried, clearly her master had been bought. That would only result in death. Yimo patted her shoulder. Don't worry, let's go to where your master was before. Guang Wei heard this and realized that she had been too worried. She quickly took Yimo to the innermost place in the palace. There was a row of more than 10 female cultivators. They were all very beautiful but their faces were numb. Clearly, they knew the fate that beheld them. All of them had restrictions placed on them. If there wasn't someone specific to release them, they wouldn't be able to get away. Yimo saw this and felt very uncomfortable, but he knew there was nothing he could do. Whether it was on Earth or in the cultivation realm, such things happened and it was impossible to eradicate. If Yimo had enough power, he would kill all of these human traffickers and let all the abducted people go. But he didn't have enough power. Power was his greatest weakness right now. Even though he was progressing very fast, compared to the powerful beings here, he was still a far cry away. Weren't you a cultivation woman bought only a few days ago? Why did you come back? A fat seller who was body condensation state level 7 saw Guang Wei and asked in disbelief. Yimo sneered. Fat pig, who did you call a cultivation woman? Keep your month clean. The fat cultivator shivered and didn't dare to talk. The status between people who were being marked as for sale was different than the free people here. Even though one appeared here again in different status, it required different treatment. As for reproaching, even if Yimo slapped him a few times he wouldn't dare to do anything. He offended a higher level cultivator as a lower level cultivator. But Yimo didn't know the rules here, so he didn't hit this fat man. Tell me, where is my master? Guang Wei asked immediately. The fat man looked at Guang Wei in confusion for a while before asking, You're talking about the woman who came with you that day? Yes, her. Where is she now? Guang Wei asked desperately. The fat man dazed and said, She has an average look, so no one wanted her. A dual cultivation hotel has pre-ordered her but just hasn't taken her away. Yimo was furious. That was the brothel of the cultivation realm. Anyone would be able to use that cultivation woman for cultivation until she died. Dual cultivation hotels were many times crueler than brothels. But Yimo was confused. Ming Xin was pretty, like a beautiful young woman. Her looks were no lower than Qin Muxin and even prettier than Guang Wei. How could she be average looking? Guang Wei didn't realize this and quickly said, Bring my master out, we'll buy her. The fat man had a sliver of joy but put on a hard face. But she's been pre-ordered by the dual cultivation hotel, I can't regret. How could Yimo not know what the fat man meant? He sneered. If she's still here, then don't waste time. Bring her here. As for spirit stones, I have plenty. If she has one hair missing, I will tear down your stall. The fat man immediately replied, Okay, I'll get her sent over immediately. He ignored the last bit of Yimo's sentence. Many cultivators wanted to do this but none of them could, plus this wasn't his stall, he was just working here. He took out a communication bead and sent a message. 10 minutes later, a triangular-eyed man brought a middle-aged female cultivator over. Yimo looked at her and could tell she was indeed Ming Xin. But her face was ruined, Yimo saw, and he realized that she did this herself. The people selling her wouldn't ruin her face. Master. Guang Wei saw Ming Xin and ran over immediately. The fat man saw this and laughed. The higher Ming Xin's status was, the more he would earn. Ming Xin saw Guang Wei with Yimo and was dazed for a moment before asking, How are you with Yimo? How can he be in a place like this? Guang Wei quickly said, Master, I'll tell you this later. Yimo saved me and took me here to save you. Luckily you're still here, master. I was so scared. Guang Wei couldn't control her sadness and was about to cry. Yimo patted Guang Wei's shoulder, signaling her to calm down before saying to Ming Xin Qianbei, I didn't expect that after the farewell at Broken Leaf City we would meet again in the distant Heartless Sea. At this moment, she realized that Yimo came to save her. She asked shakily in surprise and joy, Yimo, you saved Guang Wei? And now you came to save me? Yimo nodded. It was just luck that I saw Guang Wei. She's my friend, so I'm willing to help her. Plus, WN Bei respects Ming Xin Qianbei's character. Ming Xin sighed in her heart about fate. In a few years, she not only could see Yimo's cultivation level but needed Yimo to rescue her. But she thought more about karma. She didn't even give Yimo anything but just didn't oppress him, and now she had this opportunity of redemption. For someone like her, she would rather die than dual cultivate with countless cultivators. Yimo said to the fat man, Tell me, how many spirit stones? Hurry up. He smiled. That dual cultivation hotel offered 5 million top-grade spirit stones, but since you intervened you can pay 7 million. Yimo sneered, and just when he was about to speak, his spirit sense saw the eagle-eyed man come over here. Regardless whether he came for him, he needed to finish this deal now. Thinking about this, Yimo threw over a storage bag and said, This is 7 million, done deal. The fat cultivator took it in joy. He didn't expect that he made such a high bid, and Yimo didn't even argue. But before he could count it, the eagle-eyed cultivator's voice sounded, Wait. I, Yin Sho, will have this female cultivator. He pointed at Ming Xin. Guang Wei heard this and began to worry, but Yimo didn't seem to hear the man talking and said to Guang Wei, "Let's go." Guang Wei heard this and began to worry, but Yimo didn't seem to hear the man talking and said to Guang Wei, "Let's go." "Wait." Yin Shuo stopped the two without hesitation. He then turned to the fat man and said, "Pang Meng, what are you doing with your business? Are you not going to follow the Yin High City rules? I clearly saw that your deal hasn't finished. Why is she leaving?" Before the fat cultivator could respond, Yimo said coldly, "I already paid spirit stones. With which eye did you see with that the business hasn't finished?" Yin Shuo looked at Yimo in contempt. "Both of my eyes saw the deal wasn't finished. Don't speak if you don't know the rules." Then he said to Pang Meng, "Pang Meng, has the sale of this female cultivator finished?" The fat cultivator subconsciously shivered. "No, it hasn't. I haven't gotten the time to talk about the second part with this friend when you came." He then looked worriedly at Yimo and said, "Friend, the sale of cultivation here is indeed a two-part process. We just done the first part of the deal." Pang Meng had a clear mind, and after seeing the buyer of Guang Wei come and seemingly have great enmity with Yimo, how could he not know what happened? Yimo frowned. It was his first time here and he didn't know that much. Peng Meng explained, "The first step is to use Spirit Kai just to reach an agreement and give me the spirit stones. The second part is I need to remove the cultivation woman's restrictions and you need to pay again for that." Yimo finally realized how this Pang Meng was planning to scam him. The first step for 7 million was just the beginning, then he needed him to remove the restriction and thus he could ask for whatever price he wanted. Usually, one needed the person who set the restriction to remove it. It was very hard for others to do so. Even so, it would require the power of the cultivator to be much higher than the one who placed the restriction. Otherwise, just one mistake and the restricted person would die. If the person who placed the restriction was truth realization state, then it would be very hard for another truth realization state to remove it. Yimo sneered, "Fat man, so you're saying I need to give you more spirit stones to finish the second part of the deal?" Pang Meng smiled. "You're right, friend, it's indeed so. But the second part of the deal won't be much more expensive than the first part." Yimo was furious, "Won't be more than the first part." This was clearly a huge scam. Without a doubt, if he didn't agree to the second part, he wouldn't get his money back for the first part. Yin Shuo suddenly said, "No matter how much spirit stones he pays, I will pay 1 million more. I'll have this female cultivator." Pang Meng looked happy and gave the spirit stones back to Yimo, seemingly helplessly. "Sorry, someone is bidding a higher price." Yimo couldn't control his fury anymore and sent a spirit sense sword over. Pang Meng spat a mouthful of blood suddenly and then looked at Yimo with a pale face. He pointed at Yimo, "You dare to attack in this business hall." Then he pressed the alarm button like crazy. Moments later, 2 cauldron-filling state tertiary stage cultivators came. "You pressed the alarm button?" The cauldron-filling state glanced coldly at Pang Meng. Pang Meng nodded his head like a chicken. "Yes, 2 law enforcers. This person is making a deal here, but not only does he disobey the rules, he also attacked me." He then pointed the blood on the ground and was furious. "You dare to attack him here?" The cauldron-filling state's tones went icy cold while his partner blocked off Yimo's exit. Seeing this, everyone stopped what they were doing to watch the show. If it was somewhere else, he would kill these 2 cauldron-filling state cultivators and this Pang Meng, but he knew he would be dead for sure if he did that here. Yimo immediately went up. "Law enforcers, this fat man is lying in front of you. He said I attacked him, but there are surveillance formations here and many people saw. I didn't even move my hand. How did I attack him?" That cauldron-filling state cultivator heard this and left. Moments later he came back and said to the other cauldron-filling state, "He didn't attack indeed." "Wait, he attacked me. I spat blood because of that." Pang Meng shrieked. The cauldron-filling state who checked the surveillance said, "Do you have evidence? If you have evidence that he attacked you, we will take him away immediately, but if you have no evidence and you dare to question us, then don't blame us." Pang Meng's heart went cold. He knew Yimo used a spirit sense attack. Spirit sense attack didn't have any cultivation essence waves. How was he going to find evidence? He also knew the 2 law enforcers knew this, but they had no evidence. Yimo sneered. Perhaps you felt your blood wasn't fresh and wanted to spit, or maybe you're sick. Who knows? The cultivators around laughed. A body condensation state cultivator getting sick. Was that possible? Seeing that they were going to leave, Pang Meng pointed at Yi Mo. This man didn't finish his deal with me and was going to take away a cultivation woman. He won't even let someone else bid. That is breaking the rules here. The cauldron-filling state was unhappy that he wasn't able to catch Yi Mo when he clearly attacked the fat man. Now that there was something else that involved Yi Mo, his face immediately sunk. You're quite bold, but you won't even get a chance to regret if you think this is your place. The cauldron-filling state took our spirit artifact handcuffs. Yin Sha smirked. He knew this cultivator would be dead if the law enforcers took him. Yi Mo understood the rules approximately here. Even if the law enforcers wanted to help Pang Meng, they needed to get things clear publicly. How could he let the two take him away? He would truly be done for then. Yi Mo said, "Law enforcers, are you just going to listen to one side of the story and you can take people away? If that's the case, then I need to report to the city lord." The other cauldron-filling state stopped his partner from cuffing Yi Mo and said coldly, "When did you see us listen to one side of the story? You didn't follow our rules. We can't take you away." Yi Mo laughed. "Many people saw what happened and there's surveillance formations. You two never asked my side. You just listened to the fat man and said I disobeyed the rules. Is this the rules of Yin Hai City? If Yin Hai City is really like this, then count me unlucky." A cultivator came and said, "Since when did Yin Hai City become a place that only listens to one side of the story? Anyone who comes here is equal, even we are equal." This was a disaster transformation state tertiary stage cultivator. Yi Mo sneered, "Equal my asshole," yet he said it so seriously. The two cauldron-filling state saw this disaster transformation state cultivator and their faces changed immediately and bowed. "Manager." The disaster transformation state ignored the two and looked coldly at Yi Mo. "If you don't give me your reason, I will kill you on the spot." Yi Mo was contemptuous. "Kill him on the spot." A mere disaster transformation state level 7 dared to make such bold statement. He killed a disaster transformation state level 4 when he was cauldron-filling state level 2. Now, he was cauldron-filling state level 6. But Yi Mo still answered, "Manager, my deal with Pang Meng clearly finished," but he said it didn't. Instead he wants to sell the female cultivator I bought to someone else. Is this a domineering act? If everyone does what he does, who dares to make deals here? Pang Meng quickly bowed and said, "Manager, this cultivator is bullshitting. The deal clearly isn't finished. There's not only surveillance formations here but also many eyewitnesses. He's lying on the spot." Yin Sha also said, "Yes manager, I indeed saw the deal wasn't finished, but he was forcefully saying it was." The disaster transformation state cultivator looked coldly at Yi Mo. "Is that so?" Yi Mo said in no rush, "Manager, please let me ask this fat man a few questions." Yi Mo said in no rush, "Manager, please let me ask this fat man a few questions." The manager said indifferently, "Ask." Yi Mo looked at Pang Meng and said coldly, "You said that your cultivation women are two-step deals, right?" "That's right, we've only done the first part of the deal, not the second part," Pang Meng immediately said. "Okay, then did we finish the first part? Did you get my spirit stones?" Yi Mo asked with scorn. Pang Meng didn't know what Yi Mo meant, but he nodded. "Yes, the first part of the deal is over. You gave me spirit stones and I gave you the cultivation woman." Yi Mo suddenly raised his voice and questioned, "So that means she's mine now? What right do you have to let someone who is mine be involved in another deal? Are my spirit stones fake, or is this something you always do?" Pang Meng was dazed and couldn't react. Those cultivators who came here had to do the second part of the deal, as if they didn't, even if they got their cultivation woman, they wouldn't be able to use her. She would die very soon. He thought and immediately knew what Yi Mo meant. He said loudly, "You're right, but if you want to do the second part of the deal and I disagree, then the cultivation woman you buy will die for sure. If you're going to do the second part of the deal with me, then the deal isn't over. The first part one can regret at any time and I can refund your spirit stones, you must give her back to me." Yi Mo calmed his tone and said, So you're saying that after the first part of the deal, you must agree for the second part to proceed. Am I not allowed to disagree? Or do I have to make the second part of the deal? Is this coercion? Pang Meng said coldly, it's up to you if you want to do the second part of the deal. You can disagree, I'm not forcing you to agree, but if you agree, then I get to decide your cultivation woman again. Pang Meng sneered because he knew that Yi Mo needed him for the second part of the deal. Otherwise, the cultivation woman would die for sure. He bought this cultivation woman with his spirit stones and he knew her. There was no way he was willing to let her die. Yi Mo ignored this fat man and saluted with his fists to the manager. Manager, from the start to the end, I've never asked to do the second part of the deal, but this man is forcing me to do the second part of the deal and wants to take back my cultivation woman. If you don't believe me, you can check the surveillance formation or ask people around here. I want to ask. Just then this fat man said the second part of the deal is up to me. Since he knows this, why is he forcing me to do the second part of the deal? The manager suddenly glared coldly at Pang Meng. Is that the case? Pang Meng shivered. He thought that Yi Mo would definitely do the second part of the deal, but instead he didn't mention it at all. If Yi Mo would rather let the cultivation woman die and lose 7 million than agree to the second part of the deal, then he would have dug a hole for himself. He couldn't deny what he did, so he could only nod. Yes, but manager, he must. Yi Mo sneered again. I get to decide what to do with this cultivation woman, why should I do the second part of the deal? I never wanted to do it. Pang Meng's heart sunk. This cultivator's heart was so cruel and tough. The reality was in front of him and he couldn't make an excuse for himself. He could only bow to Yi Mo. I didn't know you didn't intend to do the second part of the deal, friend. It's my fault, I apologize. Yi Mo ignored him and saluted with his fists to the manager. Manager, if you didn't come over, I would have been taken away because I didn't want to do the second part of the deal. And the cultivation woman I bought would be taken away for no reason. I believe in Yinhai City. I believe the city will give me justice. A sliver of a glare flashed across this disaster transformation state cultivator's eyes. He scanned Yi Mo and said, I understand the specific situation now. The city will deal with the 2 law enforcers. As for this person who forced you to do the second part of the deal, you can make 2 requests that don't hurt his life. Yi Mo immediately said, yes, thank you manager, you indeed do things with justice. I came to the right city. Then, Yi Mo looked coldly at Pang Meng. My first request is compensation. The 11 cultivation women here are a little lacking, but it's barely enough. I want them whole. Pang Meng heard this and looked fearfully at the manager. The manager said expressionlessly, yes, remove their restrictions immediately and give them to this customer. Before Pang Meng could reply, another cultivator outside the circle came in and bowed. Yes manager, Mo Quan will do this immediately. It was a disaster transformation state peak stage cultivator. He removed the 11 cultivation women's restrictions and brought them to Yi Mo. Friend, how about I remove the restriction of the cultivation woman you bought before and complete the deal? Yi Mo sneered. He dared to play such little tricks. Yi Mo waved his hand. No need, I can do whatever I want with the cultivation woman I bought. Outsiders don't need to intervene. He grasped the reason of the forced second part of the deal. If he agreed now, his reason would be no more. Killing intent flashed across his eyes, but the middle stage peak stage didn't say anything and left. The manager nodded and asked, what's your second request? Yi Mo said, thank you manager, my second request is to slap this Pang Meng who dared to scam me. The manager nodded without care. Without the order of the city lord, no one is allowed to kill, you understand this right? Yi Mo quickly said, yes manager, I won't kill. I'm a foreign cultivator, I don't dare to kill in Yinhai City. I'm just slapping him, at most making him spit blood. If he didn't scam me so hard before, I wouldn't make such a request. Some people already began to feel sorry for Pang Meng, just from how he got 11 cultivation women back instead. This slap wouldn't be simple. Pang Meng broke into a cold sweat, looking at the disaster transformation state peak stage seeking help, but the disaster transformation state peak stage didn't seem to see this. Hurry up and slap him, the manager said. Yi Mo heard this and went up without hesitation, slapping Pang Meng's chest. People saw Pang Meng didn't seem to move, but his eyes became more dazed. The manager looked at Yi Mo and thought this cultivator was so vile. A foreign cultivator dared to do things to this extreme. He was this young and powerful. Clearly he had no simple origin. Then the manager said to the two cauldron filling state, "Go receive your punishment in the law enforcer hall." The two shivered and replied, "Yes, manager." The manager glanced coldly at Yi Mo before disappearing. At this moment Pang Meng woke up from his daze and pointed at Yi Mo shakily. You destroyed my Dantian." Then Pang Meng spat blood again as he fell to the ground in a spasm. Pang Meng was done for. This was worse than killing him. Some cultivators looked at Yi Mo fearfully. A foreign cultivator dared to use such extreme means. He greatly offended the manager. Yin Shuo looked at Yi Mo coldly, but he was shocked. He didn't expect Yi Mo to be this cruel, but clearly, he had offended the manager. How could Yi Mo not know this? But he didn't care. He was about to leave immediately. Yi Mo took Guang Wei and the 11 female cultivators and left the hall. When they came outside, Yi Mo stopped and looked at the 11 cultivation women. "You all have nascent soul state or hollow spirit state power. I can't take you guys away now, so I'll give you guys a few flying magic artifacts and you can run yourself." Yi Mo took Guang Wei and the 11 female cultivators and left the hall. When they came outside, Yi Mo stopped and looked at the 11 cultivation women. "You all have nascent soul state or hollow spirit state power. I can't take you guys away now, so I'll give you guys a few flying magic artifacts and you can run yourself." "Qian Bei, you're not going to use us as cultivation women." One pink-dressed hollow spirit state primary stage heard Yi Mo's words and asked shakily. Yi Mo smiled. "Do you think I'm someone who needs cultivation women? I can't bring you guys with me in Yinhai City. As for whether you can live or not, it's up to your fortune." The 11 cultivation women didn't believe this was real at all. After Yi Mo and Guang Wei and Ming Xin disappeared, they realized that they didn't even thank Yi Mo. When they wanted to chase up, Yi Mo was already gone. The pink female cultivator first reacted and asked an older yellow-robed female cultivator, "Sister Sinew, what should we do now?" She bowed in Yi Mo's direction first before saying, "If we leave Yinhai City now we'll be dead for sure, but if we stay here it's very safe. I heard this city often holds a exchange social, so we'll wait for one to come, and when it ends, we'll leave with those who came here. Then I can send a message to my sect and ask for help." The rest of the girls also agreed. Yi Mo was helpless. That was indeed all he could do. He couldn't allow these female cultivator to be ruined in the dual cultivation hotel. He also hoped that if one of his friends or family fell in such a situation, there would be someone to help them like that. He helped Meng Qi thinking the same thing. He hoped that if Yi Mo was in trouble, there would be a cultivator to help like him. Yi Mo and Guang Wei brought Ming Xin back to the hotel and introduced them to everyone else. Teng Yi and Bian Fengta weren't at the hotel. Meng Hanan said they were adamant on searching for news about the Kuan scale, so they went out. After the people had a talk, Yi Mo set up a few more restrictions before letting everyone sit down. "Martial brother Yi, what do we do about the restriction on my master?" Guang Wei asked. Ming Xin waved her hand and said shakily, "Yi Mo, thank you. If you and Guang Wei didn't come, I don't even know what would have happened. I'm not afraid of the restriction. I'm afraid that I won't even be able to die when I want to." Yi Mo signaled Ming Xin to sit down. He wasn't afraid of even truth realization state restrictions. His 3-birth chant could even give birth to cultivation methods, much less restrictions. Plus, Yi Mo knew her restriction was just placed by a disaster transformation state cultivator. Ming Xin Qian Bei, if you trust me I can help you remove the restriction, Yi Mo said. Ming Xin said firmly, "Help me, I trust you." Yi Mo held Ming Xin's hand and checked her meridians. He immediately had an understanding of this restriction. In less than 8 minutes, Yi Mo completely removed her restriction and let her recover her power. Feeling cultivation essence come back to her body again, Ming Xin immediately got up and thanked Yi Mo excitedly. Other than gratitude, she felt more shock. It was very hard to remove a restriction you didn't place, and yet Yi Mo removed hers easily. She didn't even have any hope to remove it, but Yi Mo actually easily allowed her to recover. Yi-Mo took out some storage rings, giving one to Ming-Xin and another to Guang-Wei while saying, "Go get a change of clothes and then we can talk." Ming-Xin nodded and took the storage ring before getting up with Guang-Wei. Yi-Mo then said, "There are 2 face-preserving pills as well." "Face-preserving pills?" Guang-Wei and Ming-Xin looked at Yi-Mo in shock. Meng Hanan also said this and looked at Ming-Xin and Guang-Wei in envy. Face-preserving pill, which woman didn't want to keep her youthful look forever? A woman valued her looks more than her life. Yi-Mo nodded. "Yes, but it was made by me 20 years ago so it doesn't look very good." Guang-Wei held the storage ring excitedly and wanted to go try immediately. Ming-Xin looked gratefully at Yi-Mo again and didn't say anything. She took Guang-Wei inside to shower and change. Yi-Mo looked back at Meng Hanan and also took out a jade bottle. "There's one more here, it's yours." Meng Hanan took the bottle from Yi-Mo and quickly said, "Perfect, I've been looking for one for decades but now I really got one." "Thank you, Yi-Mo." Yi-Mo smiled. "Sister Meng helped me so much, I haven't thanked you yet, a mere face-preserving pill is nothing." Ji Ling looked at Yi-Mo and shook his head. "You have so many good things on you. When you were at the Pill King tournament, I even wanted to ask for a rare flame for you from Lu Qianbei, but it seems I underestimated you." Yi-Mo smiled. "Ji Qianbei, do you want one too?" Unexpectedly, Ji Ling nodded. "Yes, I'll have one. My granddaughter must be really worried about me this time. I can give one to her. I don't need one for myself." Yi-Mo took out a prepared storage ring and gave it to Ji Ling. "Ji Qianbei, here are some things I've prepared and some of my formation experience. It's yours now, Qianbei." Ji Ling nodded and took it. He knew Yi-Mo was wealthy and he didn't need to be too polite with Yi-Mo. Soon, Ming-Xin and Guang-Wei came out. Ming-Xin's face hadn't recovered yet, clearly she hadn't eaten the pill yet. Yi-Mo asked, "Ming-Xin, Qianbei, what happened? And before you came to Heartless Sea, do you know about Peihai City's Mo Yu?" Ming-Xin thought and said, "You probably know who the #1 solo cultivator in North Far State is, right?" Yi-Mo nodded. "Yes, Ling Zhongtian, disaster transformation state peak stage power. It said he's the strongest in North Far State." Ming-Xin nodded. "That's right, there are 3 great disaster transformation state cultivators in North Far State, Wang Yu sect's Shan Fei, Jade Woman sect's Tang Meng Rao, and then Ling Zhongtian. They're all disaster transformation state but Ling Zhongtian is the strongest. I heard he's near truth realization state cultivator and he can fight people at higher levels than him. Even truth realization state primary stage cultivators won't be able to beat him." Yi-Mo had a pretty good impression of Ling Zhongtian, whether it was seeing his temperament at the herb plane or due to Xu Changji's relationship with him. Ming-Xin said, "I have a disciple called Qin Muxin, you know, right?" Yi-Mo quickly said, "Yes, I know Martial Sister Muxin, I saw her at South Peace State. She's now South Peace State's 8-star sect Heartless Valley's core disciple." "Huh, you saw Muxin at South Peace State?" Ming-Xin got up excitedly and so did Guang-Wei. "Huh, you saw Muxin at South Peace State?" Ming-Xin got up excitedly and so did Guang-Wei. Yi-Mo let the 2 sit down before saying, "Yes, Ming-Xin Qianbei, she's doing very well now and is a level 1 pill king, you don't need to worry for her." That's good, it's so good to join 8-star sect," Ming-Xin said and then sunk down in her chair. "She wasn't fortunate enough to be your wife." Yi-Mo felt awkward and didn't know what to say but luckily Ming-Xin thought of something and said in shock, "That's right, I heard you went to South Peace State." Yi-Mo replied, "Yes Qianbei, I came from South Peace State and I'm planning to cross the Heartless Sea. I met Martial Sister Guang-Wei on the way." "You're really crossing the Heartless Sea?" Ming-Xin murmured and then stared at Yi-Mo. "What's your cultivation level?" Yi-Mo was scared about talking about his cultivation as his progress was too abnormal, ordinary people couldn't comprehend it. But now that Ming-Xin asked he could only reply, "I'm cauldron filling state level 6. Ming-Xin heard this and after a long while, she sighed, "Yi-Mo, I knew you were a prodigy before but you've far exceeded what I expected. Cauldron filling state level 6, this is rare in the entire North Far State and yet you're so young. I feel like I've been wasting my life compared to you." Ming-Xin paused and said, "Yi-Mo, Don't call me Qian Bei anymore, your power is much higher than mine. Just call me Ming Xin or Sister Ming Xin. Yimo smiled. I call Mu Xin and Guang Wei martial sister. If I called you sister, things would be messy. I'll still call you Qian Bei. Plus, I have a different view than others. Just because power is higher doesn't mean you're a Qian Bei. Guang Wei was shocked even more. When she first saw Yimo, he was only foundation establishment state, and she even saw when he formed his golden core. Yimo's golden core was above the 9 grades, and her big martial sister said Yimo's future was boundless. Now it really did seem so. Ming Xin hesitated and nodded. Okay then. Yimo saw that she didn't ask about other things, so he asked, Ming Xin Qian Bei, you talked about the 3 disaster transformation state cultivators and Muxin martial sister. What happened? Ming Xin answered, the reason Ming Xin could go to South Peace State is because of 8-star sect Jade Woman sect's Tang Mengrao's recommendation. Tang Qian Bei saw Muxin and believed she was a pill concoction prodigy. It was such a waste for her to stay at North Far State, so she recommended her to go South Peace State. Then, Ming Xin sighed, in the North Far State, the 3 disaster transformation states were the foundation pillars, but the usually united 3 disaster transformation states one day fought with each other. Why? Yimo heard this and asked in shock. Ming Xin shook her head. I don't know specifically, but it was over a woman. Tang Mengareo Qian Bei and Shan Fei Qian Bei fought with Ling Zhongtian Qian Bei. It said that the battle was so intense that a few mountains were destroyed. That battle went on for a few days and eventually, both sides were injured. It said that Ling Zhongtian Qian Bei took a woman and she was from the Jade Woman sect. My status was too low and I didn't dare to ask who it was. Yimo frowned and said, Ming Xin Qian Bei, tell me first what happened afterwards. Ming Xin continued, after Ling Zhongtian Qian Bei left, he disappeared and no one heard from him again. But soon after, things happened in North Far State. The beast tide appeared not only at Broken Leaf City but also Pei Hai City. Usually they come and go, but this time they didn't go and had more numbers and powers. Ling Zhongtian wasn't there and those solo cultivator couldn't unite to fend off the spirit beasts. Shan Fei Qian Bei and Tang Mengareo Qian Bei went separately to Broken Leaf Koti and Pei Hai City despite their heavy injuries. Yimo's heart sunk. Jingwen and them were all at Pei Hai City. He asked desperately, Ming Xin Qian Bei, Pei Hai City was also attacked. Ming Xin nodded. Yes, Tang Mengareo Qian Bei went to Pei Hai City. We followed her there to help her, but there were disaster transformation state beast cultivators in that beast tide and more than 10 level 9 spirit beasts. Although many North Far State cultivators went to help, there were too many. Was Pei Hai City broken in? Yimo asked anxiously. Ming Xin shook her head. When I left, it wasn't. A powerful cultivator came and stopped the beast tide. I didn't see clearly, but that powerful cultivator seemed on par with Tang Mengareo Qian Bei. Yimo breathed easy and then asked, you left? Ming Xin replied, yes, although Tang Mengareo Qian Bei was heavily injured, she was in the middle of the battle constantly. Her injuries got worse and worse. A lot of cultivators from Jade Woman sect died. There were only me and 2 disciples following Tang Qian Bei and a few solo cultivators. Seeing that she was about to die, we wanted to take her to escape. During our escape, my sect's Liu Yutang also disappeared. Eventually, we had nowhere to go, so we went into the Heartless Sea. Ming Xin sighed, although Guang Wei and I got away, we were heavily injured. We could only find an island to recover. We stayed a few months on that island with Arid Spirit Kai before recovering. Then, we went to find Tang Qian Bei, but we lost our direction. We just wandered around for another 3 years, but we still didn't find our direction. We decided to stop by an island and cultivate while we thought of a way. Yimo sighed. Ming Xin was only Hollow Spirit State Tertiary Stage and Guang Wei was worse, Golden Core State Level 9. It was extremely fortunate that nothing happened to them in those years in the Heartless Sea. Ming Xin said, before we could find an island to stay on, we were captured by beast cultivators. They wanted to rape us, but when they saw we were both virgins and our talent was good, they changed their mind. They knew they would get much better profit by selling us. Guang Wei looked down in embarrassment when Ming Xin said this. Then you and Marshall's sister Guangwei were brought to Yinhai City? Yimo asked. Ming Xin nodded. They spent about half a year to reach Yinhai City. Then you know what happened. Yimo's face went bad. He had a good impression of Ling Zhongtian and the Wang Yu sect's Shan Fei. He was recommended to South Peace State by Shan Fei. Although he gave them the spirit recovery pill, Shan Fei also protected Mo Yu and set a hollow spirit state cultivator there. Yimo's face went bad. He had a good impression of Ling Zhongtian and the Wang Yu sect's Shan Fei. He was recommended to South Peace State by Shan Fei. Although he gave them the spirit recovery pill, Shan Fei also protected Mo Yu and set a hollow spirit state cultivator there. However, it didn't matter to him why they fought. He was worried about Mo Yu, Song Yangzhu, Yi Ling, Song Yangzhu, and the rest. Meng Hanan suddenly asked, Sister Ming Xin said that the three most powerful people in North Far State all got injured and then the spirit beast attacked. Could there be some shenanigans there? Yimo also felt this thing was very dodgy, but he hadn't gone back to North Far State and couldn't be sure if someone plotted this. Ming Xin wanted to comfort Yimo upon seeing his worried face, but Yimo suddenly asked, Ming Xin Qianbei, that means when you left Peihai City, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. Ming Xin nodded. Yes, it's indeed been almost 5 years. Yimo was at a loss. 5 years, so much could happen in 5 years. He set up a teleportation formation at Mo Yu and could only hope that if Peihai City was really broken into, they would be able to leave through that. Ming Xin said again, Yimo, don't worry. When I left, a powerful being came and humans gradually had the upper hand. As soon as they got the upper hand, countless cultivators would flock to help. Yimo sighed, he could only think like that. Ming Xin said gratefully again, Yimo, thank you for giving me this many pills. Yimo nodded. Ming Xin Qianbei, if you don't want to stay in North Far State, you can come back with us to South Peace State this time. Ming Xin heard this and didn't say anything. After a long while, she responded, I can't go, I have Immortal Herb Valley, if you can take someone away then take Guangwei. Her talent is really good, it's a waste for her to stay in North Far State. Guangwei's eyes went red and just wanted to say something when Yimo got up and opened the restriction of the room. Teng Yi and Bian Fengta came back looking excited. Yimo looked at the two and asked, You two seem very happy. Teng Yi laughed. It's because we heard about the Kuan scale. It's really here, but it's in the City Lord Estate. Each year it would be taken out for show, but it's not for sale. Bian Fengta said, every year, the City Lord Estate would hold a cultivation resource trade social. Before the social, the City Lord would show the Kuan scale to everyone. There are about 3 months till the social, we can stay here for 3 months. Yimo was thinking about Peihai City, but even without it, he wasn't going to stay here for 3 months. He felt very uncomfortable here. We can't stay here for 3 months, Meng Hanan suddenly said. She also felt very uncomfortable here. Yimo nodded. Indeed, we must leave here immediately. Then, he said again, I want to visit the City Lord of Yinhai City, regardless if I can get the scale, I must try. You want to visit the City Lord? Teng Yi immediately waved his hand. You don't need to go, you won't be able to see him at all. It's said he's very powerful and doesn't see guests, how can you see him? How would I know if I don't try? If I really can't, we'll leave the Sai immediately, Yimo said. Meng Hanan suddenly said, Marshal Brother Yi, I'll come with you. Yimo nodded. Let's go now then. As soon as they walked out, Meng Hanan said, Yimo, if you have Immortal Curl Flower, you might really be able to get the Kuan scale. Yimo shook his head, he only had one last Immortal Curl Flower, he wasn't going to swap it. Perhaps this was the last one in the entire cultivation realm. Meng Hanan sighed, she knew it was probably impossible to get the Kuan scale without something like the Immortal Curl Flower. The City Lord Estate was right in the middle of the city. It was grand and luxurious, there was a huge square in front of it. The square was covered in blue spirit bricks, filling the place with spirit kai while making it seem royal. Yimo thought of Bright Moon City when he saw this city. When they came to the border of the square, they were stopped by 2 body condensation state cultivators. Stop, this is the City Lord Estate, no one is allowed to come near, otherwise we have orders to kill. Meng Hanan thought Yi Mo would make the two-body condensation state go report and then go in, but Yi Mo just took out a jade slip and gave it to the body condensation state. Give this jade slip to the city lord, it's very important to him. Of course, you can choose to not give it, but if you can be responsible for that you can do it. Then, Yi Mo came to the border of the square and didn't wait for the two to respond. Meng Hanan looked at Yi Mo in confusion. Yi Mo, are you sure just a jade slip is fine? What should we do? Should we leave now? Yi Mo proposed, let's go to the spirit rest tower ahead for 2 hours. If he still doesn't come then we'll leave immediately. The two guards looked at each other. After a while, the body condensation state said, what should we do? Should we chase up and give it back to him? The other cultivator shook his head. Even if we give it to him, if it's something the city lord needs we won't get away with it. But we don't have the power to give it to the city lord. The cultivators were so desperate they were about to cry. At this moment, a cold voice sounded, bring the jade slip in. The two heard this voice and were shaken, but they quickly reacted and bowed. We greet city lord. Then, the two quickly passed the square and went into the city lord estate. Yi Mo and Meng Hanan quickly came to the spirit rest tower and opened a room. They went in and didn't talk. Meng Hanan glanced at Yi Mo and didn't say anything. She felt Yi Mo seemed more troubled after he left the square. Her guess was right. Yi Mo was a level 9 formation grandmaster. He wasn't a top level 9 formation grandmaster, but it was impossible for ordinary formations to trick his eyes. Knowing this, he still saw a huge formation outside the city lord estate. It wasn't a spirit-gathering formation nor defense one. It was a refining formation. Yi Mo felt that Yinhai City was like a small world, and now he saw a refining formation. He immediately knew that someone was trying to spirit control the small world. If the Yinhai City was really a small world and if it was spirit-controlled, then even a single grass fate would be controlled. Thinking about this, Yi Mo broke out in a cold sweat. What if the city lord invited all the powerful people in the 4 states to the city and closed off the small world? If the Yinhai City was really a small world and if it was spirit-controlled, then even a single grass fate would be controlled. Thinking about this, Yi Mo broke out in a cold sweat. What if the city lord invited all the powerful people in the 4 states to the city and closed off the small world? Thinking about this, Yi Mo felt it was very possible. The city lord held the social every year. Who knew if he would have a big one after he spirit-controlled the small world? To other cultivators, Yinhai City was indeed very safe and fair. With this, if they held a huge social, how many cultivators would come? Yi Mo didn't dare to imagine. Yi Mo understood now why the Yinhai City had such a good reputation. It was intentional. If this was the case, then this city lord was too scary, but why did he not spirit control this place even after a few thousand years? Yi Mo knew he couldn't discuss this with Meng Hanan. They had to leave first. Yi Mo and Meng Hanan didn't wait very long. After they just drank their first cup of spirit tea, a middle-aged cultivator came with a pale-faced man following behind him. He seemed like a ghost behind him. The middle-aged man set up a restriction before looking at Yi Mo calmly. You went to the city lord estate to find me? Do you know the consequences if your jade slip contains lies? Yi Mo felt a powerful pressure as soon as this man came. This man definitely was the city lord Yin Shu, but Yi Mo didn't expect him to be such a handsome man. He seemed only about in his 30s. His black hair casually landed on his shoulder. His body had good ratios too. He seemed like the perfect man. Even Meng Hanan was amazed by his looks. But what put Yi Mo on alert was that Yin Shu was truth realization state level 9 and his power was no weaker than Lu Wu. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists. Wn Bei knows City Lord is very busy. I don't dare to trick you at all. City Lord, please have a seat, and you too. The middle-aged man saw that Yi Mo called himself Wn Bei but didn't seem to act like one at all and was a little surprised, but he nodded and sat down. However, that ghost-like person behind him remained standing. Meng Hanan helped Yin Shu pour 2 cups of spirit tea and also bowed. Wn Bei Meng Hanan greets City Lord and this master. Yin Shu looked at Meng Hanan and nodded before looking at Yi Mo again. Yi Mo took out a jade bottle and gave it to Yin Shu, saying, "City Lord, please have a look. This is the thing I mentioned in the jade slip. I know this thing is very precious, but I don't dare to guess how precious it is." Yin Shu took the jade bottle and opened it. His face changed immediately. He sniffed it before covering it in shock and looked at Yi Mo in disbelief. "This really is 10,000-year stalagmite marrow, a level 10 spirit medicine, and there are 10 drops here. Where did you get this?" Yin Shu rejoiced that he had come. Everyone knew about it, but it was too rare in the cultivation realm. It could not only repair spirit sense and soul but also give birth to spirit roots. Those who couldn't cultivate could develop spirit roots by using it. Meng Hanan also looked at Yi Mo in disbelief. She thought the most precious thing on Yi Mo was immortal curl flower, but there was this too. She really couldn't distinguish which was more valuable. "You wouldn't show this to me for no reason. Tell me, what do you want?" Yin Shu frowned but didn't give back the stalagmite marrow. Yi Mo immediately saluted with his fists. "City Lord, the thing WN Bei wants is only owned by you. Tell me." Yin Shu frowned. He felt that the thing Yi Mo wanted wouldn't be simple, or he wouldn't take out the 1,000-year stalagmite marrow. Yi Mo nodded. "WN Bei heard City Lord has a Kuan scale, so I want it. Would you be able to give it to me?" Hearing this, Yin Shu's eyes flashed with a sliver of bleakness. He stared coldly at Yi Mo and asked, "Do you think 10 drops of the stalagmite marrow can trade for the Kuan scale? Plus, even if I give it to you, you think you can keep it?" Meng Hanan's heart sunk. She believed the 10 drops were very precious and it wasn't impossible to trade for the Kuan scale. The City Lord said this, clearly meaning that he didn't want to trade with Yi Mo. Yi Mo immediately showed a horrified look and saluted with his fists. "WAN Bei doesn't know the value of the Kuan scale. I thought 10 drops of the stalagmite marrow would be able to trade for it. WAN Bei was too ignorant. Please forgive me, City Lord. Luckily this is the Yin High City, or else WN Bei's actions would be too outrageous." Hearing this, the City Lord's face eased up a little. "No matter, you didn't trick me on your jade slip after all. Although Yin High City doesn't dare to compare power with South Peace State's Pill City, it's the #1 fair place." Yi Mo immediately said, "Thank you, City Lord. WN Bei won't waste your time anymore." Before the City Lord could nod, Yi Mo went to grab the stalagmite marrow while smirking inside. 10 drops couldn't trade for a Kuan scale? Who was this guy tricking? Of course, if that Kuan scale belonged to a mature Kuan, then even thousands of drops wouldn't be as valuable as it. But Meng Hanan said the Kuan was a newborn and was only a level 7 spirit beast. The stalagmite marrow was Yi Mo's, and the City Lord couldn't stop Yi Mo from taking back his own thing, so he could only put it down awkwardly on the table and let Yi Mo take it. Meng Hanan suddenly understood why Yi Mo saw the City Lord here. It was a public place. Even if the City Lord wanted it, he couldn't rob it, or the reputation of justice and fairness the city had set up for countless years would disappear. Meng Hanan admired Yi Mo greatly now. If they really went into the City Lord estate, then even if they never came back out, it wouldn't cause much drama. The City Lord suddenly said, "How long do you plan to stay in the city?" 3 months later there will be a huge social and there will be many precious things there. Although they might not be as precious as the Kuan scale, they will be very rare. Yi Mo laughed in self-mockery. "I probably can't stay here for 3 months. I'm actually a level 9 spirit pill master. I'm planning to go back to the hotel and concoct the stalagmite marrow into spirit root purifying pill and then sell it before I leave." Hearing this, Yin Shu's face changed immediately. He didn't expect Yi Mo to waste it like that. A level 9 spirit pill master dared to use it for pill concoction? Wait. Seeing that Yi Mo was going to leave, Yin Shu called him back. He didn't trade, but that didn't mean he didn't want the stalagmite marrow. If this idiot used it for pill concoction, how could he get it? Yi Mo sneered. He knew the value of the stalagmite marrow wasn't cheaper than the Kuan scale. Yi Mo sneered. He knew the value of the stalagmite marrow wasn't cheaper than the Kuan scale. This guy asked how long he was planning to stay in here so he would attack once he left the city. But Yi Mo wasn't going to do things according to his will. He said he was going to waste it. He didn't believe Yin Shu would be able to hold his temper. If he could do even that, Yimo could only stay in the city and not dare to go out. Because if he went out, he would die. Yimo had a very clear sixth sense from cultivating the three-birth chant. He saw there was no luck here when he saw Yin Shu. He either succeeded or died here. Now that Yin Shu stopped him, Yimo quickly saluted with his fists. "Qianbei, do you have any other orders?" Yin Shu nodded. "Yes, it's too much of a waste to use the 10,000-year stalagmite marrow to concoct level 9 spirit pills. It's not as valuable as the Kuan scale, but it's very rare." Even Meng Hanan could tell that Yin Shu wanted to trade for the 10,000-year stalagmite marrow but couldn't find an excuse. The city lord had to trade it with Yimo now since he knew Yimo was going to waste it as soon as he got back. Yimo took out another shaw fruit and said, "City lord, I suddenly remembered I have a level 9 spirit fruit. If I use both of them to trade, would you be willing to?" "It's actually level 9 spirit fruit shaw fruit?" Yin Shu looked at Yimo in shock again. Just how many good things did this young cultivator have? Meng Hanan was more speechless. Every time Yimo took out something, it was something she didn't expect. Even if he was going to give Yin Shu away to trade, he didn't need to give something this precious. "Great, we can trade now. The Kuan scale is very precious, but what you give me is more important." Yin Shu took out a red jade box and gave it to Yimo. Yimo gave the shaw fruit and stalagmite marrow over without hesitation. The shaw fruit wasn't completely mature, but it was still a level 9 spirit fruit. Yimo did this so Yin Shu would have no other excuses. Yimo took the jade box excitedly and saluted with his fists to Yin Shu. "Thank you, City Lord. WN Bei will be leaving now." He didn't even open the jade box and took Meng Hanan to leave immediately. "There's a restriction on the jade box. How do you know it's the Kuan scale inside?" Meng Hanan immediately asked. Yimo said heavily, "I was sure it is as soon as I got it. Plus, he won't be cheating me on this. It doesn't suit his identity." Meng Hanan nodded and said worriedly, "But I think that City Lord." Yimo waved to her. "Let's talk when we get back." How could he not know that the City Lord wanted to kill him? It was so obvious, whether it was for the 10,000-year stalagmite marrow or the level 9 spirit herb. Plus, he now had the Kuan scale. Yimo was certain that Yin Shu wouldn't let him leave Yinhai City with the Kuan scale. He needed it to attract all sorts of cultivators to come here and settle or trade. But for Yimo, it was fine as long as he had the Kuan scale. As soon as Yimo left, Yin Shu looked at the jade bottle and the fruit for a long while before saying coldly, "I didn't expect a mere cauldron-filling state cultivator would have this many good things. Just how many more secrets does he have to be able to reach cauldron-filling state in 100 years? The shadow-like figure behind him suddenly said, "Master, why trade with him? We can just find an excuse to kick him out of the city and I'll go kill them, simple." Yin Shu shook his head. "If we kick away a cultivator for no reason, it would cause drama. Plus, I'm only lending it to him for a few days. My spirit sense mark is on there. If he touches it, I will know. That cultivator definitely has a lot of secrets. He might leave the city, keep a close eye on him. If he leaves, then follow immediately. Even if we send 2 truth realization states, I want you to bring his secrets back to Yinhai City." "Yes, Master," the shadow answered. As soon as Yimo and Meng Hanan came back, the rest of the people came up. "How was it? Did the City Lord show you the Kuan scale?" Teng Yi asked. Yimo nodded. "I'll let Sister Meng tell you. Ji Qianbei, I need to go into solitary cultivation now. Set up restrictions on this hotel, don't allow any spirit sense to come in. Before I come out, don't leave the hotel. As soon as I come out, we'll leave immediately." Hearing this, everyone agreed. Yimo went inside his room and set up a few restrictions before going into the Golden Page world. It was dangerous to go in the Golden Page world here, but he couldn't care about it. After coming back from the square, he knew that the City Lord hadn't completely spirit-controlled the Yinhai City. With Jiling Qianbei and his restrictions, it would be enough to stop the spirit sense or a truth realization state peak stage cultivator. As soon as Yimo went into the Golden Page world, he suddenly felt uneasy, but he shook his head as he couldn't find the problem. He took out the red box immediately and saw the hidden spirit sense mark on there. Yimo carefully opened it and saw a palm-sized scale. It was faint blue. This was indeed the Kuan scale. The next moment, Yimo took out Blue Moon. Although he was just a level 3 forgery grandmaster, and could only forge low-grade cultivation artifacts, he didn't plan to completely integrate the scale into Blue Moon. He only needed it to upgrade Blue Moon's quality. Yimo didn't hope for immortal artifact, but a half-immortal artifact should be fine. He would fully integrate the scale into Blue Moon when he was a level 7 forgery grandmaster or later. Yimo also planned to add in a few bitter bamboo leaves. Then, Yimo released the Mist Lotus Heartfire, but before he started to melt the Kuan scale, he felt something was wrong and put away the Mist Lotus Heartfire. Moments later, he spotted a very small spirit sense mark. He was shocked. If he clumsily molded the scale into Blue Moon and didn't find this spirit sense mark, it would mean that Yin Shu would know wherever he went. There was a restriction covering the spirit sense mark. If he touched the scale, then Yin Shu would immediately know. Thinking about this, Yimo came out of the golden page world immediately and wiped the sweat from his head. If Yin Shu couldn't sense his spirit sense mark, would he come to this hotel immediately? That was highly possible. He couldn't risk that. Luckily, he was a level 9 formation grandmaster. He carefully peeled off that restriction and then put the spirit sense mark and the restriction into the blue lightning source bead he got from Tian Alfeng. Then, he put the bead back into the red box and breathed easy. He checked the scale many times over and made sure there was no spirit sense mark before going into his golden page world. Meanwhile, he left that jade box in his room. Yimo didn't know that when he went into the golden page world, Yin Shu immediately felt his spirit sense mark disappear. He frowned and was about to do something, but he noticed the spirit sense mark again. Yin Shu sat down but wanted to catch Yimo, this insect cultivator, even more. He wanted to know all of Yimo's secrets. After going in the golden page world, Yimo didn't have that feeling of unease anymore. He immediately knew that the feeling was caused by the jade box. If he didn't send that jade box out, perhaps Yin Shu would be at the hotel already. After going in the golden page world, Yimo didn't have that feeling of unease anymore. He immediately knew that the feeling was caused by the jade box. If he didn't send that jade box out, perhaps Yin Shu would be at the hotel already. Yimo released the Mist Lotus Heartfire, and this time he threw the scale in. He thought that Mist Lotus Heartfire was a heaven flame and red-colored, so it would be able to mold the scale. But 8 minutes later, Yimo was disappointed. The scale only melted a little bit. With this speed, he would need a few days to melt it, and that was just the first step. How many days would he need to fuse it with Blue Moon? Soon, Yimo realized that time wasn't even the problem. If his fire melted the scale this slowly, he wouldn't be able to fuse. This was the simplest method in forgery. Realizing this, the reason he wasn't scared of Yin Shu was because he was a forgery grandmaster. If he got the Kuan scale, he could mold it into his Blue Moon. Once Blue Moon was a half-immortal artifact, even truth realization state cultivators wouldn't be able to catch up to him. However, the reality was that his Mist Lotus Heartfire wasn't enough to mold the Kuan scale. Yimo felt very annoyed. His brain operated rapidly to think of a way out. If he didn't deal with the city lord, he really wasn't scared of those disaster transformation state cultivator, but he was facing truth realization state cultivators now. Yimo couldn't think of any other way other than upgrading Blue Moon. In order to do that, he needed to mold the scale, but other than upgrading his heaven flame, there was no other way. Thinking about the Mist Lotus Heartfire, Yimo remembered he still had a Flame Lotus Heart. It was given to him by Lu Wu and he hadn't used it. Yimo immediately took it out, and felt its scorching heat. Without the need for Yimo to do anything, the Mist Lotus Heartfire had already swept it away. Yimo looked satisfiedly and believed his heaven flame would be able to reach green color this time. But Yimo was soon disappointed. The Flame Lotus Heart was devoured rapidly, but his Mist Motu's Lotus Heartfire only became a little darker. It was still red. Yimo took out the Kuan scale. It melted faster but wasn't enough to upgrade Blue Moon. Yimo put down the Kuan scale dejectedly while thinking how he could upgrade Mist Lotus Heartfire. He took out all the ores Meng Hanan gave him and put them in front. He was planning to test them all to see which material would be useful for the Mist Lotus Heartfire. Soon, Yimo was surprised to see his Mist Lotus Heartfire lean towards a blue ore. Yimo immediately remembered that it was the ore he got from the Chu 18 discs. It was a little hot and he felt it would benefit him at the time. Now, Yimo realized it would benefit the Mist Lotus Heartfire. Yimo took it over immediately and it was soon swept into the Mist Lotus Heartfire. The Mist Lotus Heartfire exploded after devouring that blue ore. The heat rose drastically. Yimo felt the flame getting hotter and hotter. Yimo was shook. He had already spirit-controlled Mist Lotus Heartfire. How could he feel the heat? Soon, Yimo felt that he was slowly losing control of the Mist Lotus Heartfire. It was as though it was going to fly out of his hands. Yimo knew things weren't good. He quickly burnt some blood and used 3 birth chant to control the Mist Lotus Heartfire. Luckily, bad things didn't happen and the flame gradually calmed down. Moments later, the Mist Lotus Heartfire started to show a green color. After another 15 minutes, the flames turned aqua. 15 minutes later, when Yimo saw the flame turn into a blue color, he was astonished. He realized what the blue ore did. It could upgrade any rare flame into a blue color. Such a terrifying ore, this was the rare treasure of the world. Yimo was sure that the blue ore was much more valuable than the Kuan scale. Many people thought it was hard getting a rare flame, but it was much harder to upgrade it. If it was below red color it wasn't too bad, but after red, it would be countless times harder. Yet this blue ore could upgrade his Mist Lotus Heartfire to blue color. It was too absurd. Yimo couldn't think of an ore that was this powerful. Not even a level 10 ore would be able to do that. Yimo rejoiced that he made the decision to take the ore. It was perfect for him. Half a day later, the Mist Lotus Heartfire had calmed down and a water blue flame jumped around on his palm. Yimo was surprised and overjoyed. He could feel the terrifying power of the Mist Lotus Heartfire. He felt he could even use it to attack a truth realization state cultivator. Mist Lotus Heartfire now gave him endless hope. He admired the flame for 15 minutes before taking out a few materials to test. They all soon melted into liquid. Yimo used very little spirit sense and cultivation essence to control it. Usually, it would take him a day to forge a low-grade cultivation artifact, but now it only took him 4 hours. Plus, aesthetically speaking, it was much prettier than before. With the Mist Lotus Heartfire's upgrade, Yimo's forgery skills and pill concoction both improved. Putting this newly forged low-grade cultivation artifact aside, Yimo took out the Kuan scale and threw it into the flame. Now, the scale melted rapidly. In just moments, it was done. Yimo quickly took out Blue Moon and molded the scale into it while throwing out hand signs and inscribing formations. He couldn't completely mold the scale into Blue Moon, but just partially was enough for now. 3 days later, the Kuan scale was gone and Blue Moon let out a phoenix-like howl. It seemed a little more alive. Yimo was overjoyed. In order to better control Blue Moon, he started to spirit control it again. A day later, Yimo got up. Blue Moon was now a half-immortal artifact. He desperately wanted to test its speed. A big part of his plan had succeeded. He only needed to hide Blue Moon's Kai and then leave Yanhai City. Yimo heard that immortal artifact would have divine damnation when completed, but he didn't see any divine damnation. It was probably due to the incomplete laws of his world. Second, he didn't completely mold the Kuan scale in. Yimo heard that immortal artifact would have divine damnation when completed, but he didn't see any divine damnation. It was probably due to the incomplete laws of his world. Second, he didn't completely mold the Kuan scale in. More importantly, his Blue Moon was just barely half immortal artifact. It was still a far way away from immortal artifact. Plus, half immortal artifacts didn't have divine damnation anyways. Yimo's Blue Moon wasn't completely upgraded, so its Kai was exposed. Yimo couldn't perfect it more for now, but he could inscribe some stealth formations on it to cover its Kai. Then, Yimo left the Golden Page world and put away all the restrictions. Yimo put the red jade box back into the storage ring before coming out of the room. He came out and saw Jiling and them discussing something. Their faces were very serious. What's going on? Yi Mo asked in confusion. Ji Ling answered, Hanan told us about your deal with the city lord. Yi Mo, this was too risky. If we leave the city now, perhaps we'll be followed. Yi Mo nodded. Ji Qianbei, it's not just probable, it's certain that we'll be followed. There's no way that the city lord won't hunt us. But we should leave now in case anything else coming up. Martial brother Yi, are we leaving now? Guang Wei asked in confusion. Yi Mo nodded in certainty. Yes, we must go now as fast as possible. He didn't talk about Blue Moon, he wouldn't say anything about this before going out of Yinhai City. No matter how confident he was in his formations and restrictions, he wouldn't do such a thing. Who knows if Yin Shu would be able to hear it? Seeing that Yi Mo had made up his decision, Ji Ling didn't ask and quickly packed away all the formations and restrictions. Moments later, they left the hotel. At the same time, Yi Mo noticed that there were many people watching them outside the hotel. But Yi Mo was sure they weren't sent by the city lord. Yin Shu didn't need them. When the 7 came to the city gates, Yi Mo saw that Yin Shu was waiting outside the city for him. There were 2 disaster transformation state cultivators next to him. Yi Mo didn't see that cauldron-filling state female cultivator. Guang Wei looked worriedly at Yi Mo. Yi Mo, these people seem to have been watching us, what do we do? Ignore them, let's just leave. Yi Mo ignored Yin Shu's murderous eyes and walked out. As expected, no one stopped them from going out. When they came to that huge grassy plain, Yi Mo swiped with the card and a void formation door appeared. Go in quickly, Yi Mo said and went in. Moments later, the 7 appeared on that huge rock again. Yi Mo breathed easy, he felt free here again, not oppressed like in Yinhai City. I feel much more comfortable, Meng Hanan sighed. Yi Mo didn't ask about her feelings and took out Blue Moon. Quickly get on, we need to leave. Ji Ling immediately saw the stealth formations Yi Mo had added. He thought of the Kuan scale, did Yi Mo really refine it? He didn't ask Yi Mo about it as now wasn't the time. When they got on Blue Moon, Yin Shu and them quickly followed. However, they were on a top-grade flying cultivation artifact instead of the low-grade flying cultivation artifact from before. When they got on, Ji Ling and them found that Blue Moon wasn't any faster than before but instead a little slower. Tang Yi also noticed this and said, Yi Mo increase the speed to max, we need to run. Meng Hanan answered for Yi Mo, we can't increase to max speed yet. If we do, the nearby truth realization state cultivators would know that ordinary flying magic artifacts wouldn't be able to chase up to us and will come after us immediately. Sister Meng is right. But Yi Mo had another reason, that Yin Shu was too cocky. He would feel uncomfortable if he didn't teach Yin Shu a lesson. Thus, they couldn't go too fast. A few hours later, Yi Mo stopped Blue Moon. Meng Hanan asked in confusion, Martial brother Yi, we just got 100,000 kilometers away from Yinhai City, why did you stop? Meng Hanan thought now was the time to speed up. Yi Mo knew what she meant, he pointed at Yin Shu. I don't like that guy, I want to teach him a lesson. Yi Mo knew that even if the city lord was going to attack him, he wouldn't do it in front of Yin Shu and them. Outside the no-fighting range, Yin Shu wanted to stop Yi Mo and them but saw Yi Mo stop himself. Before they said anything, Yi Mo came out of Blue Moon and said to Yin Shu, if you want to fight, hurry up. I don't have much time. Hearing this, Yin Shu and them laughed. A cauldron-filling state level 6 pointed his finger at a disaster transformation state level 6 telling him to hurry up and fight? Was there something funnier than this in the world? Only Guang Wei looked worried. She knew Yin Shu was disaster transformation state middle stage while Yi Mo was cauldron-filling state. How could he beat Yin Shu? Ming Xin didn't know Yin Shu's power. Meanwhile Meng Hanan and them didn't worry about Yi Mo at all. Yi Mo could kill disaster transformation state middle stage Yong Yang at cauldron-filling state level 2, he was now cauldron-filling state level 6. Even if he was no match for Yin Shu, he wouldn't lose by much. Yin Shu turned around to the 2 disaster transformation state tertiary stages and saluted with his fists. 2 brothers, watch him and don't let the others run, watch how I teach this kid a lesson. Yin Shu then released his yin-yang lock and his power rose drastically. There were explosions in the air due to his pressure. Yi Mo saluted with his fists at this moment. Friend, it was my fault that I took Guang Wei away before, but she's my friend. Yin Sha and them were dazed. Yi Mo was being very cocky just then, as though he didn't fear anyone, but now he was scared. Yin Sha snarled, "What? Scared now? It's too late. Weren't you very cocky at the trade hall? Destroying someone's dantian and taking 11 cultivation women. I'll tell you right now, even if I let you go today, you think you can get away? Keep fucking dreaming." Yi Mo frowned and took out a red jade box. "This is a blue lightning source bead. It's very precious. I'll give it to you, friend. Please let me go." Then, he opened the jade box to show Yin Sha and threw it over at him. Yin Sha immediately wrapped the box with his cultivation essence and checked it carefully before opening it. It was indeed a blue lightning source bead. He was overjoyed. This was more precious than 7 or 8 cultivation women. If it was some lightning spirit root cultivator, this was the best thing for them. It was a priceless treasure for them. He didn't expect that Yi Mo gave him something this precious before he even attacked. Clearly he had more precious things. Yi Mo didn't even wait for him to finish and released Zishu. Rings of purple ray emanated like a beam from Zishu, and they covered the heavens as they swooped towards Yin Sha. Instantly, Yin Sha couldn't be seen anymore, there were just purple rays. Illusion Cloud 7th Strike, Formation Shatter. Yi Mo's strike locked the surrounding space, and at the same time, he sent over a few spirit sense transformed blades. Yin Sha didn't take this cauldron filling state level 6 cultivator seriously and casually let out his yin-yang lock. He didn't want to kill Yi Mo, he wanted Yi Mo alive. But instantly, he felt something was wrong. The space around him froze and it was hard for him to use his magic artifact. This is domain, initial completion domain. Yin Sha was extremely shocked. Even his domain wasn't in initial completion, yet a cauldron filling state cultivator had achieved this. In his shock, Yin Sha forcefully used his yin-yang lock. He broke free of Yi Mo's domain instantly and the yin-yang lock swept towards the purple rays. But at this moment, there were piercing pains in his sea of consciousness. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.